All right, this is Randalicious, and welcome to the 60-second Hexis podcast. In this podcast, we're going to be talking about the Halloween event, Hexis getting involved in Deadman mode, the old school beta for mobile, the Gargoyle boss, King of the Skill, Wilderness Rejuvenation, Rev Caves, Mage Arena 2, Artisan, Volcanic Mine, and the bug that was there, and got a very special guest on as well. Let's get into it. I'm Randalicious, and I'm the leader of Hexis.
I am Aubrey, and I am burnt.
I'm Arptastic, and I've got 1589 total level.
Nice. I'm Abra, Bronze Star, and Hexis.
I'm Zoydberg, and I'm very honoured to be tonight's special guest.
And I'm Rock, and I'm not even maxed yet.
All right, so
Almost.
Rock, this is your first time on the podcast. For the viewers, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I joined the old school team about 18 months ago as a QA analyst, which is what I still do now. In my spare time, all I pretty much do is play RuneScape. So yeah, I'm just as much of a hardcore player as anyone, really. Literally, my life basically is involved around this game right now. But that's not a bad thing.
Oh yeah, we're used to that around here.
All right, so an announcement that I missed. Hexis is coming out. We got shirts that are going to be available on Amazon in the merch store. Submitted the t-shirts earlier to yesterday, and they should be available sometime within the next 48 hours. So follow us on Twitter at Hexis, and we'll be providing the links for you there. They're going to be available in black, like a charcoal, light colored gray, pink, and royal blue.
Jeez.
So first thing that we're going to talk about is Deadman mode. And Abra and I, we got like 6 or 7 guys from Hexis that are participating in the Deadman tournament. And for me, this is the first time that I've really been involved with it at all. So I guess, Abra, you and I, let's talk about this a little bit. For the Deadman mode, we qualified. What did you enjoy most and least about qualifying, and how do you think doing all of that has changed your opinion? Like, has doing all of that and getting to experience some of it changed your opinion on Deadman mode at all?
Yeah, a little. So before, I never played Deadman. I would only ever have considered doing it to like do nights for money to swap or something. I didn't really feel like doing anything else. But with this, with all the XP multipliers and if you're in dangerous zone and all that stuff, getting qualified within that 6 hours, it's like a little speedrun thing. So I found it interesting, and I managed to do that. And so yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, I like doing it. It definitely gave me a different outlook on the game mode as a whole. I had a lot of fun doing it because like the methods that we were doing were either methods that I haven't done in over 4 years, or methods that I've never done, or methods that I've never done at all. So it was really refreshing and fun, and kind of challenging, working against the clock, trying to get as high of a total level as I could before I could be killed by somebody. And it was a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to Hexis winning the Deadman mode winter tournament coming up.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy.
All right, so next let's talk about the the Halloween event that came out. Did you guys like it? Did you do it? Do you think that they should be giving away holiday items for every event? So like, for example, you do the event and you get all of the previous year's rewards as well? Or think that there should be some kind of unique items for some of the older players that have been around the entire time? Is there's at this point no real way of determining like account age. I don't know who worded that, but when flexing, unlike on RS3. But your overall opinion of the Halloween event and everything?
I don't think we need to give people special things that they can go and show off with. And especially the problem I'd have with saying, for example, if the reindeer hat was only available in 2014, we'd have all been pretty pissed off for, 3 months until 3-tick fishing came out after 2015 Christmas. So I think if they were going to do unique items you can only get if you did it on that event, they have to actually make sure that they're not going to, define a meta for a while.
Yeah, I thought the Halloween event was pretty cool. Definitely was a lot more effort put into it than some of the past ones, which is interesting. I Let's see. Yeah, I kind of miss the fact that there were some items you could wear to show that you'd done an event from a really long time ago. I always thought that was kind of cool. It would be especially good if they were not useful and just cosmetic. But I do kind of miss the rarity of the old Halloween item or holiday items in general.
I'm a little bit biased on this one because I worked on it. So
Oh,
yeah, so I'd spent I think about 2 weeks before it came out working with it, and then as soon as it came out, I did it just to get it over and done with. It was definitely one of the more challenging Halloween events we've done, which I think is only a good thing because it's nice to be able to challenge people rather than just do a fetch and grab for like a couple of times and then that's it. But I think I like being a little bit more. Make the players work for it a little bit more than they normally would do. As for the items, I honestly don't really care about if there was items like specific for specific years. If we did do that, I probably wouldn't tie it to Halloween events at all. I mean, there has been a lot of talk about like a 5-year cape or whatever.
Or more on that
coming up soon. But yeah, I wouldn't do it with holiday events at all.
Okay, I liked the event in a way that it was very frustrating. So I think that since it was able to evoke some frustration from it, it shows it is a lot better than previous ones. I think that last year, I think it was the Christmas one where it was like in the raids place.
Yeah.
That one to me, I didn't love. There was previous Halloween ones where like you scared the goose or something and it like flew away and left some eggs behind. The Chronicle book. Yeah, I feel like this one was like you had to actually think about what you were doing, and I did the quest 3 times, or it's not a quest yet. Maybe we'll see. But I did the event 3 times before I ended up getting to it on my main account, and progressively got better. But man, the first time that I was doing it, I was running around really. I was really stressed out, and I think that that's credited to it being developed and well thought through on what you need to do. We were robbed of the purple skin, though. This disgusting zombie blue that we have is so outrageous that I'll still take it as a consolation prize. But, man, we'd be looking real nice with some of that putrid purple skin color.
It's because no one on the team likings.
See, that's unfortunate.
I mean, Ghost likes purple, so.
I didn't personally do the event. I will be, but haven't done it just yet. But from what I've heard, people have said that it is more difficult, like you guys said. I think it's a good direction to go in because it's similar to the previous Halloween event we had, which turned into a quest. I think that's definitely a nice direction to go in because, like you mentioned, with the Christmas one, it really was just sort of walking around, clicking things, and it telling you exactly where to go. So it is nice that they're making you think about it. As for the holiday items, I think it's good the way it currently is, where you just get all of them when you do one event. I don't think holiday events are a good way of showing off your account age. I think there are just better ways to do that.
Oh, Abra, what about you?
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute. Anyways, yeah, I did the event. So I guess I liked it. And again, as Arp said as well, I like the direction it's going. Like that's actually like a full thing, not this just short little thing. The part with the harpoon near the end though was a little bit weird for me. Like I didn't always know where to stand. Like I was trying to find it, and it just wasn't as obvious. But if you just stand still, it'll show you. So that's okay. But
yeah, let me just interrupt you quick. I think that after you're standing around not knowing where the fuck you're supposed to be, and that after a little bit of time, it does show you where you do need to stand. I think that was a great touch to it.
I'm gonna go do it right now. Where do I go?
The graveyard in Lumbridge.
Oh, okay. I'll report back.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't really care too much for like holiday stuff to be just from that year. Like especially if there's music, because that's another thing that's automatically unlocked as well as like the previous rewards and all that. So you wouldn't be able to get your trimmed music cape if you didn't do a holiday event.
I think this year's event actually used the previous holiday, a bunch of the previous holiday ones. So even if you didn't have them, you probably would have unlocked them during the event.
Ah, okay. Well, yeah, just in general and for the future.
Alright, so next let's talk about Make All. And what do you guys think about Make All overall? Thoughts on like using hotkeys to navigate through the interfaces. Do you think that it was worth all of the dev time that was into it? What do you think about how it's impacted one-tick Karambwans and how much more easily maintainable it is over longer periods of time? And yeah, what's your guys' opinion on Make All?
I know it's turned into quite a controversial update after seeing what it's actually affected, but I personally really like it. I know I'm probably going to be in the minority here today saying that I like it, but I do. I think the interfaces look good. I know it took a lot of dev time, but saw that tweet from Ash saying he actually cleared up a lot of code while doing it. So I don't think it was just the fact that they were trying to get Make All out. They were sort of also cleaning it up a bit. Some of the stuff that's come out, like one tick Karambwans, obviously has I mean, it was possible before. It's just more possible now. I don't really know how I particularly feel about that.
I think Make All was a really good update in terms of like quality of life for everyone that effectively plays the game. I've used it a fair bit myself, like even just today, grabbing a quick Herblore level, but it just made things a lot more user-friendly, a lot more smoother in my opinion. So yeah, it's always going to be beneficial. As regards to some of the things that happen with it, like one-tick Karambwans, as far as I'm concerned, it was already in the game. So yeah, the fact that it is still there, yeah, I'm honestly not bothered by it being as it is.
Yeah, I haven't really done anything involving interfaces, like make interfaces since it came out. But a while ago on Twitter, when they first announced it, I was asking Ash whether it would make it so you can't do one-tick Karambwans anymore, and he said it wouldn't affect it. So delivered on that, and based on like since the initial dev blog, I had a kind of an idea in my head of how one-tick Karambwans would be, and that's why I stopped doing them when I heard about it. And they're exactly how I expected them to be, which is easier than they used to be. So I don't really care that much, I guess, but it wasn't really a surprise to me. That's all I can really say because I haven't really actually used it much. Made some money off of merching them, which is good.
Yeah, with all the Karambwan and stuff, it was kind of funny to look at the markets. That it actually, in a sense, reflected how RS3 is. That like scaling everything costs money, even like cooking. So that was funny. But no, I'm really glad it's here. I didn't think it was going to take nearly as much time as it did. Like, I was originally planning on doing crafting like way before I did it, but yeah. Well, I just did it without. So it's, as for Karambwans, don't really care. I've been 200 mil. People can keep getting it. Yeah, but it's all the casual players can do it now. But again, don't really care about that. Game integrity. I mean, it kind of puts everyone on the same playing field. So, yeah, it's good. I don't have a whole ton on it.
I like everything about it besides the one-ticking Karambwans. Bickle made a note that one-tick staminas were introduced because of the Make All option, and I think that is a thing with the impact then that it will have on Herblore. I do really
The
like
one-tick
everything about it.
anti-venoms are back too.
Are they?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
I do like that. Like everything about the make all, just other than the Karambwans, you know, like back for me, like back in 2014, I was working on buttermilk cooking. One ticking Karambwans was seen as almost like taboo because of how ridiculously difficult it actually was to be able to do at that time. And you know, over time, it's slowly gotten easier and easier. Like the resizable was another big one. I just feel like it's been dumbed down so much at this point that I don't really like with how it is. Ginge made a point a long time ago in one of his videos that he made talking about Ash, and that Ash is phenomenal at like the coding aspect and doing everything that he's supposed to do, but he doesn't really have an opinion about what direction the game goes. I mean, you know, I'm speaking from the outside for all of us that just, he doesn't really seem to care what direction the game goes into as long as what he is assigned to do, it works the way it's supposed to. And I feel like if I was tasked with doing the make all stuff, I would have made some adjustments to the one tick Karambwans. Yeah, it was possible before, but I mean, it's really just progressively gotten to a point to where it should almost be something that is expected by players to do.
Well, actually, just on that, what do you have any sort of thing that what exactly would you do differently about that? Like, how would you change it?
Well, if my career was in developing, I'm sure I'd be able to come up with a much better answer right on the spot, other than make one ticking Karambwans not that easy to do.
I think in general, just like it could do without the keyboard shortcuts entirely, and then it would be much closer to how things functioned before, but being cleaner.
I'm fine with the keyboard thing, but I mean, if anything, I would think that the solution would be to increase the delay on it from 0 or 1 tick, whatever, up 1 tick.
Then 1 tick ROMs would be nerfed. That would kind of suck.
I'm okay with one tick Karambwans being in the game, like how they were before Make All. With how it is right now, I don't really love it.
I don't know. I have three major issues with what was, well, two issues and 1 point about this whole thing. For like 2-3 years, people on Reddit were talking about how there was the Make X, Make All. It wasn't consistent. So what I saw was the fix for this was going to be the things that had a Make X, like fletching bows, I think has a Make X. They were going to add a Make All option for that. I didn't see anyone calling for a complete overhaul of the menu, the crafting menu, and I'm pretty annoyed at the fact that it's something that's really iconic to the game, and they've completely overhauled it. And obviously, he spent a hell of a lot of time doing it. I think he said like 10% of the game's code was rewritten, which is pretty ridiculous.
1%, I think.
1%,
whatever. 1% is still ridiculous because it's millions of lines of code. It's a hell of a lot of effort for something that I don't want whatsoever, and I don't think anyone was asking for. I appreciate it looks pretty and everything, but I think it takes another iconic thing from the game, and it's a game that we all play for those iconic things. So I don't like to see them removed.
I don't play it for the make interface.
Does it
ruins the old
the Guardian Preserver of the old school feel.
Somebody has to preserve the old school feel, and seeing as some people have taken a back seat, I'm going to take the reins. The other thing is, again, people said hotkeys. I don't like the fact that basically the reason hotkeys have been introduced is because some people were cheating from some people's view. So the solution is to bring everyone up a level and make everyone better at the game. I don't see why we have to do that. Why can't we say if these people are cheating, they're not allowed to do it? I don't see why we have to make the game easier with things like hotkeys, which again removes a very, what I think, a legacy aspect of the game, the fact that you play the whole thing with your mouse. I think that's great. It's what makes the game unique. I don't like that we have to move in this direction of everything being made slightly more like the mainstream games. I don't play this game because it's like every other game. And the last thing is I saw everyone complaining about Karambwans. I think the Karambwans thing was massively overstated. I don't see anybody who wasn't already going to do Karambwans doing Karambwans. Sure, it's made it slightly easier for the people that were going to do it anyway, but it's not like I was never going to do them before, and I'd never do them now, because I can't be bothered. I would rather do wines. And I think everyone feels the same way. So I think the Karambwans thing, everyone's overstating.
Yeah, kind of.
One thing that I do think that I like about the Make All is that in the future, when we get onto mobile, This is going to be something that is going to be pretty easy
Oh,
to
yeah.
do on mobile. You know, doing the banking skills with the make all, the interfaces that come with that. I think that they probably had mobile in mind when designing the interface and user friendliness of that to make things better moving forward for mobile, because mobile's going to have a huge audience of players.
Yeah, and also another major part of it was just centralizing it. All right, so anyways, moving on from that question, I put in an additional one. So basically, with the addition of shift click dropping and emptying pouches that we had like way earlier in the year, and this new make interface, it seems that they're really trying to phase out third-party software usage. You know, AHK, Windows mouse keys, put everyone on the same playing field and not make it reliant on those, or to get an advantage from those. So pretty much the only use of those kind of programs left that people were using them for before is banking, for like bank standing skills and whatever, withdrawing from the bank. If the engine team could get around to it and we could get support for it, would any of you like to see withdrawal X for banking?
What?
What does that mean?
Like shift click withdraw, so like what do
Yeah.
Oh.
Sorry, I meant to say shift click for that. Yeah.
No.
like, hold down shift and you just click your staffs, click your orbs, and then you got 14-14.
No.
I don't see why anyone would do that anyway. I guess you would for the second one, but for a 14-14, you'd still want to do the drop it on the first one. Because that's what puts you over the second one.
Mouse keys to just click 2 real quick.
Guess it
I'm
takes
sure
up
you can-
one input, takes away the right click, but apart from that, you're still, like you said, still have to move your mouse.
No, I don't think they need to design the game around people that want to play at 100% efficiency. We can do that regardless.
Any comment, Rock?
Not particularly.
Okay, I don't know. I just kind of felt like throwing it in there.
I think that this is something that, if it was pulled, probably would get a lot of support, because I think the idea of kind of going again to making everything on the same level, dropping and make all. I think that this is a direction that may be moved forward into in the future, and I think it's definitely something that could be a real possibility for 2018. And this would make mobile playing very easy. And yeah, I think that this is something that we could definitely see in the future. I don't know if I really have any opinion on if it's something I'd like to see or not. Kind of does ruin the old school feel a bit, but it is something that I could pass a poll.
Yeah, I think it probably wouldn't pass. I mean, there's a slight little
You think
worry
it
about.
wouldn't?
No. I said I think it probably would, but there's that slight little worry of like everything compounding, like everything getting easier, But see, I don't feel like super strongly about it, but I guess I'd be fine with it. But it's just that one last thing that's missing.
Yeah, I mean it's very similar to Make All. It feels almost logical that they're just going to continue and pull that. And like Randy said, and I reckon it probably would pass a poll because it is just so similar to everything else, and people would just think, why not? We've got everything else. We'll have that as well. About it phasing out AHK and Windows mouse keys, though, I think it's I think that it's good that everyone's becoming more on a level playing field, but I don't think that's the right way to do it. It's like the whole herb and tar thing, where people are concerned that herb and tar doesn't make sense, that it gives you a higher rate, but it's good that it's more intense and does. I think there should be a more natural way to make things harder. Like fine, add shift click in, make withdraw X shift click, fine, but add a way to make things harder, but naturally. Can't think of what they could do, but just anything other than what we've already got.
I don't know. I see the argument of we want everyone to be on the same playing field, but I think then you're thinking in the perspective of like 1% of the player base who are actually playing at a quote competitive level. Again, I said it. I don't think the idea is to bring everyone up a level to make it similar. If you say,
All right, what?
Yeah, you kind of cut out really.
good to use these things.
You're gonna have to repeat that. So it.
Did I lag?
Well,
Yeah, oh yeah.
you didn't
Oh,
lag.
I
You
don't
just
care.
completely cut out.
It doesn't matter.
Try to say it with as much enthusiasm. Come on. Nope. Say it.
No, I can't. It's already out.
What? It's not out there because no one heard it.
Yeah, but I've said it.
But it's not
You know
out
what
there.
I think. I said people shouldn't be brought up. The level shouldn't be brought up artificially. If you think things are too overpowered, ban them. Don't bring everyone up to the level of the overpowered thing to quote unquote phase it out.
Okay.
I don't know. I just really like the idea of like everything being in that, not needing anything else. Like getting benefit from another program. It's kind of weird. Just it's kind of in the same vein as like other clients.
Do you think if somebody picked up old school RuneScape today, that they would start playing the game and feel like it's not really old school? All of the changes, like with the interfaces and like that.
I don't think we've deviated that much. Because, and again,
yeah.
I don't think people played it back then specifically, or would come back specifically because they want the old interface.
I did.
They'd come back
I love
because
the
of
old
the
interface,
memories.
but that's a portion.
Eh,
Like, sure,
I think
I
that
didn't
was-
come back for
I think
the
that was
interface.
one of the things that was just kind of crude before.
Yeah, it's
that's-
crude, but the
it's a-
whole game's crude. That's what I bloody love about it.
The
That's
graphics
the
are crude.
point. Yeah,
The old
whole
graphics
point
are
is-
crude, and I like the graphics, but some of the mechanics and such.
Yeah, but the menu
certainly
systems
am
are
okay
awful.
with changing.
The menu systems are awful. The combat system's awful. These are the things I like about it because it feels so nostalgic. Like, I don't play this game because it's shiny and new. I play it because I loved it 10 years ago.
I mean, the experience should be good. The graphics, everyone has different tastes. That's just all I'm saying. I think it should be, easy to actually access and like do what you want to do.
It never was, and that's why it was so. Why it's a cult fandom.
Yeah.
Its flaws are what make it brilliant.
Okay. Any more thoughts on it?
Oh.
Okay. All right. So, anyways, another thing that was missing, I got in here is King of the Skill. Let me get the link for you guys in the chat here. There you go. If anyone hasn't seen that, they talked about it in the Q&A a couple weeks ago. They finally, well, not finally, whatever. They put out a blog for it. Basically, throughout November, everyone will compete on. There's going to be a couple new worlds like Dead Man. It'll only last through November. You'll have 10x XP rates, even from like lamps and quests and such. And the people that end up in the top 5 for individual skills or top 10 for total level, they'll get prizes like membership, 3, 6, 12 months, depending where they place, and some
something cool and something
something
really
really
cool.
Yeah, and then so the big catch about this is you can only play for 24 hours on it, so you have to really think about it. It's all about efficiency rather than just like who can play the most. Do any of you plan to participate in it? Play it when it comes out. It comes out, again on the 1st, which is Wednesday, so there's not a whole lot of time. And if you do, what do you plan on doing? So I guess I was right first. I'm not entirely sure what I would do, but I definitely am interested in doing it. I would just like FKA on the main and do it on another account, because in the blog it says like the rewards you can get on an account of your choosing. So I would just put that back onto the main. And I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to be doing. I'm kind of thinking about it right now, planning out. I'm thinking I would just do an individual skill, like maybe farming, depending on what happens with logout. If you lose time, if you log out, or because you could just like yeah, I'm not exactly sure how they're going to do that, because potentially you could just like plant something, log out, log back in, harvest, and repeat, and you barely use any time. That or maybe hunter. I'm thinking about what I would do for every skill, and then I'll make my decision then.
Yeah, I think it sounds pretty cool. Nice to see a serious skilling competition, because it's been a while since we've had something like that. I'm planning to do mining. to see if I can win. And maybe other skills too if I end up getting a mining record early on and want to try some other accounts or something. Yeah, it should be fun. I kind of miss mining, so it'll be nice.
Yeah, it does. It is nice that they've brought something in for that. I think that it's been done in a really good way as well. The fact that you can have your 24 hours at any time you want really makes it so. Because I think a lot of people would be put off if they had to do 24 hours in one go or however long in one go. The fact that you can sort of do what you want, and then when you feel worn out or if you have to leave, you can come back at a later time. I think that's a really good way of doing it. The 10 times XP rates are quite interesting in that people have to plan exactly how they're going to be training a skill. I personally don't know if I participated. I don't know what skill I would do. I feel like all the gatherers, like fishing and mining, woodcutting, are going to be covered pretty heavily because those just seem like the obvious ones to do. But it's nice that they're talking about giving so many rewards out for like each individual skill and total level. Just makes it so like everyone can feel like they can participate.
Oh, and another thing I forgot to mention for anyone that didn't know about it before as well, that everyone is an Iron Man, so you don't have to worry about people like giving over items to people for like anything that uses tradable stuff like a Bible or whatever.
Yeah, competition for some skills is gonna suck though, like mining.
Nah, for you it's free.
Well, if there's more than 5 or 6 people trying to do mining at the same time, there's only 3 worlds, and there's only a few good spots to mine at. So
Wait, have they actually said how many? I've just have confirmation that it'll be more than one world.
I think they said 3.
I don't know. I think Kieran said it's according to demand, basically. Like as they fill up, like with Deadman.
You're gonna have
I
to
think they would add
scout,
more or delete.
scout a world before you log in.
Oh yeah, that's clever. Yeah, you don't want to waste time looking.
Well, from my point of view, obviously I can't enter it. So yeah, but I'm certainly looking forward to what people do with it. It's something that I think. I mean, obviously, like you guys, the skillers haven't really had anything in terms of competition for a while. So I'm excited to see how this will run, how people enjoy it, how it works and stuff. And then, obviously, if it goes well, we can look at things in the future or take feedback and design something else or whatever, really. So I'm just going to be sitting on the sidelines and watching.
I made a video talking about this, and I think that it's a brilliant idea. Everything about it is done well. I think that it'll go very well, and in the future, they'll be able to do different kind of variations. Like maybe next time they want to do this, it can be everyone starts off level 99 and everything. 13,340 or 13,034,431 XP in every single skill, and you're then able to have access to everything out there. Whereas like right now with how it is, I do think that it's really good, but most of who's going to win, I think, is going to come down to like the mental aspect of knowing how to train stuff at low levels or acquire things as an Iron Man. I think that people that have played Iron Man for the last 3 years are at a 2-3 years are at a massive advantage in the low level mentality that you need to have. And I think that given the rewards that they're giving out, I think membership is pretty nice. We still don't know what something cool or something really cool is, but I do really like this. I think that there's a lot of potential moving forward. I'm gonna compete. Looking to do fire making. It's gonna be one of the most heavily done skills. So I don't know. I figured I'd have some fun with it. Not really. I mean, agility, I think, has potential to maybe be the most competitive one because if agility, I mean, I still don't know, and I think that most of who wins, again, is going to come down to who knows the most rather than who can actually click the best. And it'll be, yeah, like agility is just shit. You cannot miss a tick running on these roofs, otherwise you're going to lose. So I like it. There's a lot of potential for it now and moving forward. Good luck to everybody.
I think I definitely prefer it as is, everyone fresh start rather than max out. The planning aspect of it is something that I'm really into because again, like I like speedrunning and such.
I'd rather it more so reward players that are better at.
What just it's just more grindy to me.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
not
I
really,
wish it-
not really.
Because this is kind of
grindy.
like not exactly about grindy because it's time limited.
Yeah. So for time limited, I would rather it more so be about skill rather than knowledge. Which yet, like they do go hand in hand. But if everyone has the same starting off at 99 and has all of the possible things available, I think that that is a better metric of defining who is better at the actual clicking and the actual king of it, rather than, hey, I knew about this obscure method that I was able to use to get a slight advantage.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
I
both
wish I
have
could do
their
lavas.
ups to it.
I suppose where things won't be instanced, it's going to be a bit strange because I mean, crashing. It doesn't really feel like it should be part of the competition, but I suppose there's no real way around that apart from giving everyone an instance.
Yeah.
Oh, one thing that I
Oh,
didn't
yeah, and
mention
so
is I really like that it's limited to 24 hours. That doesn't feel like someone has to go over the top to try to feel like they're competing. It really makes
Yeah, you can do like an hour a day.
yeah. So the whole 24 hours in a month period, I think that's a really good time frame. Any more would maybe be a little bit too excessive, but any less, yeah.
And yeah, they mentioned on the podcast. I mean the Q&A. I don't know if we have it later, but it's like support for speedrunning. That's yeah, because it's along the same vein. I'm looking forward to if they can ever do anything about that. Get it into the high scores. I mean, the categories wouldn't be all listed because I'd just make it way too big. It would just link off to somewhere else. But yeah.
Okay. All right, so RS3 made an announcement about the mobile beta. So they're having their launch earlier this week. Despite having a later release date than Old School, when do you expect to see the Old School mobile beta to be released? Rock, he won't be able to answer that. So let us ignorant folk talk about it.
I'm gonna hope it's soon. I'm looking forward to seeing what lavas are like on mobile.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I don't know either. They said originally like sometime after RuneFest. I mean, yeah, it's after RuneFest still, but I thought it'd be much closer. Like I thought it'd be sometime in October. But it'll take as long as it takes. I know something they said about it basically is it's gonna take longer to get to the initial thing, but far less time to optimize it. As opposed to RuneScape 3, where it's pretty much the other way around. Like it didn't take as much to get it in, but it's going to take way more time to optimize just based on how much content and all the different interfacing and other stuff. But yeah, if we could get it in time for us to actually have time to give our feedback from it being a beta after all, yeah, that'll be nice. I hope the official release date will still be around the target that they set, which is like sometime in December, I think. We'll see.
All right. Well, I had nothing really to say until just then, and what you said kind of worried me. In what context do you mean it's going to take a while to get implemented, but not too much time to optimize? Do you mean in a beta testing sense, or is in an actual release build? Abra.
The actual release build, I think, compared to
so you'd expect
what's
it to
implemented
be
in the beta.
unfinished on release.
Well, not necessarily unfinished, but obviously our feedback.
But optimizations to be done.
Yeah, and also just like potentially like system requirements and just like data usage and all that. So just trying to optimize it down.
Data usage. It's from like.
I mean, no, not
for DSL
not
connections.
data usage, but you know what I mean. Just all the other things.
Yeah. I mean, they've already said it runs at like 60 FPS on mobile. It should be fine. It doesn't. I mean, bloody old school RuneScape. What was I going to say? Yeah, they set really ambitious targets. If they get it out in December, I'll be really impressed. To be honest. To be fair, over the past year, I've always mentioned that they set ambitious targets, and they do seem to meet them. Within the year frame, that excludes Australian servers, so we're good on that frame. So yeah, ambitious target. I don't care if they meet it because I won't use it. I hope they never meet it.
All right, I'm really looking forward to when it comes out. I hope that I am one of the people chosen to test it. And I mean, they've had a lot of people test it so far, like at RuneFest and other events that they've had. So it's not like there hasn't been actual testing by players, and sure that the people that have already done it have been able to provide some good feedback on what they'd like to see changed and what is good. They can take as long as they want, as long as it's great when it comes out. Come out 6 months from now, and I wouldn't mind. Take as long as you need to get the product to be perfect. But what are you guys most looking forward to doing when it is everything's all out and official and done well? What are you most looking forward to doing on mobile when it does come out? What skill, what things? Tell us.
Probably just something like pretty easy and AFK, like, you know, when I'm away. Not anything too involved. But I'll certainly be looking out for YouTube and for streamers doing like bigger stuff like the Inferno and PK. That'll be nice. And yeah, they had some people testing it at like RuneFest and whatever, but obviously those are just very basic things. They're not testing literally every piece of content to see if anything goes wrong somehow.
Rock, what are you going to be doing most with mobile when it comes out? What in-game activities?
Well, if I haven't maxed by then, I'll be doing whatever I've got left to do, really. But yeah, I mean, so it'll probably be something that I do things like mining, fishing, things like that on. I would like to try and press it as far as I can with PVM stuff, so I'll definitely be interested to see what people end up doing with the mobile.
If you don't mind, have you been able to test it out quite a bit?
I kind of, but I can't really go into any information.
Well,
so obviously, like, it basically would have been the same as what people saw at RuneFest.
Okay.
Like, they basically got to log in and do whatever they wanted.
Okay.
Has there been any additional? Well, I guess you probably wouldn't. I don't know if you'd be able to talk about it, but like any additional decisions on like for right clicking and stuff like that, and like for like shift click compatibility.
I couldn't go into that information even if I wanted to.
All right.
But for me, what I'm most looking forward to is running some roofs, man. I think that with everything that we were able to see, like from RuneFest, is that I think agility is probably going to be the easiest thing to transition over to maintain top rates. You know, no one playing on their phone should expect to get normal XP rates. You know, you're going to get less rates than you otherwise would. So I think that with it, agility will be the easiest thing to do. You know, you run some roofs, do some R to get 62k an hour. And aside from that, I think I would probably start doing some wood cutting, you know, maybe redwoods or fishing at the pond. Something that I am interested in, and I know that they talked about it on the mobile Q&A that they had, is that mobile will be able to run in the background, you know, kind of like as if it's like Spotify or something like that. You close out of it, your account will still stay logged in. So with that, I think what
Just what we need,
mate. With that, what I think I may be doing quite a bit.
Nightmare Zone.
Yeah, doing quite a bit of Nightmare Zone. I have actually finished all of the melee Nightmare Zone that I need, which is a few hundred mil with the way in which I slay. So, you know, on to range. Dan S, get me them range tank rates in the zone. Yeah, I'll keep my account logged in on the phone as much as I can when I'm away from the computer, at least doing Nightmare Zone. And if I have a chance to step out of the zone, go to the pond, the roofs, woods. I'm very
Depending
excited
on how
for it. I'm very
dropping
excited for it
stuff
because
goes,
I think
know.
that I've probably played on the phone more than anyone in like the high level community. You know, all the phone zone time and like even earlier this week, some people may remember I was streaming from my I was laying in bed and I did like an hour and a half of Slayer from my phone. I was
Ooh, I didn't see that.
I was very fortunate to get canon only tasks, mind you. But with like those canon only tasks, I was able to do Slayer just fine, and that was with Chrome Remote Desktop. So I think that pretty much every single night I'll probably lay in bed and just tap them roofs a couple times before I fall asleep. I'm really looking forward to it. I think I'm going to use it every single day.
Depending on how dropping goes, though, I think minnows would be a good thing to do.
Well, I think that I know one thing they were talking about in the mobile Q&A is that they may have it implemented to where it'd be like kind of like shift click drop, but it'd be like a setting to where like shift would be held down essentially, and you would just tap your
they.
Which I mean that can already be
decided
achieved.
To do that necessarily.
That can already be achieved with the that fucking thing, the on-screen keyboard or sticky keys, whatever. Like with like combination of that and Chrome Remote Desktop. So I'm very fucking excited.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going through with that. It was just discussed as a possibility.
What about you, Arp? You very excited?
I don't think I would probably use it in very many places. I mean, probably at work if I could. So even there, I could probably only really do redwoods or maybe soul rune crafting.
That's what you do at home, Arp. What you know about?
hey. But yeah, that's probably it.
I'm sure you don't have to guess what I'm going to do on mobile old school.
Nothing?
If I install it, I might rag Randy while he tries to do agility. Or
wait, how can you rag agility?
You
put
can set up
down,
cannons.
that'll annoy Randy.
Cannons,
Chop
pie
some
dishes.
pie dishes. Yeah.
I do not want to see. All right, there's been a couple people this week. Get those pie dishes off of my roofs.
Oh, they're on my roof too, Randy.
Oh, like the worst part of it is when they drop the pie dishes at the start of the course, and you try to click the course thing.
Yeah. So everyone stop putting them on World 46, where I run my laps.
Place drop your pie dishes literally anywhere on one of the long stretches. Yeah. You get up to the first roof and then you run all the way down. Drop it somewhere.
Yeah, but I am legitimately concerned if they do end up doing it. I mean, obviously, Rock can't say if they are or not. If they do end up going the route of doing a toggle for shift in the same sense you could do with sticky keys, yeah, on the surface it might look the same. But I mean, you can see that you can do things like enchanting bolts on a tablet far faster than you could do it on a computer. I don't want to see a toggle shift because what it lets you do is toggle the shift and use all your bloody fingers to spam tap your inventory and drop all your logs at once. I really would not like to see that happen.
Can't you already do that with sticky keys?
Well, yeah, but you can't spam click. You don't have 10 cursors up. That's the difference.
Good point.
I mean,
on a mobile, you have as many cursors you have as fingers.
You just run the mouse through the inventory.
Could use your feet too.
Oh yeah, I gotta give me a.
For us traditional players,
20 cursors.
For us traditional players using their mouse, you can't drop it as fast as you could. Yes, traditional. Some would say intended.
I dare.
Some would say. Aubrey, you gonna be runecrafting at all?
Yeah, I'll see whether I can do lavas. I have like an hour in the car every day for work where I'm not.
You used to be cool, Aubrey.
Hey, who's got that one meme of a dude in the car?
He
has like
I know.
He has like a 2-foot tablet mounted in his car to play.
Oh no, I was thinking of a different one. I was thinking of the. Do you know why I pulled you over?
Oh no, I'm not talking about that one.
I was thinking of the one where Dalton crashed because he was doing Nightmare Zone.
Yeah.
There's no way that actually happened. I refuse.
Do you realize like what Jagex have done is they've already prematurely. I know they've caused car crashes because Randy's gonna be doing it. Not Randy. I don't want it to happen to Randy. Sorry, Randy. I shouldn't have mentioned you. Player X is gonna crash his car because he's bloody dropping his redwood logs.
Player Y is very used to playing on their phone or having a laptop in their passenger seat right next to them, and like player Y is used to driving around and typing on a laptop and listening to the radio and having to do all of
That's
those things
dangerous.
simultaneously while having great situational awareness. So player Y is probably really going to enjoy it, and it'll be safer for player Y to do it because they're not going to have difficulty, because player Y is going to be doing this no matter what. This just actually, this makes it even safer for some players, I'd say.
Is Y the last letter of this player's name?
No,
I think he was just saying instead of player X.
Yeah, he said X, I said Y.
More like player Y.
Player Z is never going to do it.
Oh yeah, player Z is perfectly safe. Never gonna happen. Can't even drive, actually.
Alright, so let's talk about the Garg boss. It came out on Thursday. What are your guys' thoughts on the environment of the Garg boss? Ghost said on this week's Q&A as well that he'd like to replace all the current models with his own. But, kind of taking the environment of the Garg boss, what do you think about it visually?
Wait, hang on. Who did the models right now?
I'm talking like the older models.
So is this just Ghost like talking shit about whoever did the current models?
No, he just
not talking shit, but
he just wants to do it.
Weren't they just made?
The actual thing that we're supposed to be focusing on is the Garg boss environment, not the comment that Ghost made about he would like to change.
Weren't they just made?
No, I'm talking about the rest of the fucking game that has already been established. Like all of the graphics that have already been in the game, way before he even was on the team, he would like to redo those.
Oh, is that what he wants to do? Christ, that's ambitious, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And now you've somehow made that the focal point of this topic.
Sorry.
When it's
why
actually
is this
the
question
environment.
under the Garg boss if it's about everything?
You know what? I don't know. Trickle put it together, so.
Trickle? What on earth is this? There's no way he means the entire bloody game.
What do you think about the Garg boss environment?
Yeah, I don't know why that was there. I wish I deleted it before.
Aubrey, what do you think about the environment of it?
I only saw it for like a second, but yeah, I've never really liked Ghost art style that much because it just doesn't line up with old school at all. So I don't know. Even if it looks good, it just doesn't look like it fits in the game.
All right, Zoid, can you keep on topic for this one?
Well, I mean, I had a whole thing prepared about. Actually, no, I didn't have anything prepared. I just wanted to talk about Ghost talking shit about the new models.
No,
so you can stay on topic. I think the environment looks good. As you guys see watching the podcast here, you can see the background of it is the environment of where the grotesque guardians are. The only complaint that I have is the ridiculously large portal that you have to go in. I've got a lot of issues with that portal, man. Like, I'm never even going to be walking up there on my main account.
Preach it, Randy. Preach it.
Dude, like, there are, like, these staircases. There are spiky chains. It feels like it would have only been natural to go into that way. Like, for me, I think the last thing that I would have thought of would be having a portal that large in that location. Just add in a spiky.
Is it supposed to be on the roof of the building?
Yeah, like if they would have added in a spiky chain, and you climb this chain.
Portal to get on the roof.
You climb the chain, and then maybe it brings you into a little corridor or a hallway, area to where the portal then is. That would be much more visually pleasing.
How did they get up to the roof in the first place to connect it with the portal?
I mean, let's not talk about yeah, so they can fly. But I think that where the boss fight takes place looks good, and I think that the models of the bosses looks good. That portal is such a bad eyesore, man. Just I don't know. Hopefully it gets changed to more fit the environment.
I feel like that's a pretty consistent problem. Like, maybe problem's not the right word. I don't think Ghost stuff necessarily looks bad. It just his vision of what the game looks like doesn't fit with what already is there. I think we've probably said the exact same thing about other things he's designed.
I think a
would
lot
like to
of
see
I
things
think a
match
lot
the
of his
environment
stuff
more.
looks good, and a lot of it also at the same time doesn't fit in. But I think that the Guardians, I think the actual environment of it, like that, has an old school feel to it. My only issue is the portal.
From my point of view, I think it fits thematically, as in the roof and everything else fits thematically with the Slayer Tower. It still has a feel of Vigor's fortress. And for those of you who don't know, Vigor is the original creator of the Slayer Tower before it came as Slayer Tower. For anyone that loves a little bit of lore.
Lore.
And yeah, like I'm definitely a fan of Ghostwork. People will probably say I'm a bit biased, but no, I think this is by far perhaps one of my most favorite environments. So
Can we get
I'm
your
on board
opinion
with
about
it.
the portal?
Honestly, from my perspective, I'm not really fussed, but I can see either side of an argument.
Good fence, me.
I like this fence. Leave me alone.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same as Randy. Yeah, it all looks good, and I think it does fit. But yeah, the portals was my issue. I think West in general, his stuff fits better into the previous art style. But again, in this situation though, Ghost, I think that still fits.
I just teleported away on a dag task, still having 6 left.
Randy, can you stay on topic, man?
Alright, so the Cannonball Dust, which is dropped every single time from the Gargoyle boss, it is currently not tradable. Pretty much you coat the cannonballs with this granite dust, and it increases the max hit of the cannonball from 30 to 35. And Kieran, I saw him comment on Reddit that he'd like to see this pulled, make it tradable. So, what are your guys' opinions on this? Do you think that the granite cannonball dust should become tradable?
Yeah, I think it should be, and it'd also be nice to improve the GP per hour you get there by a little bit, because I think it's slightly underwhelming compared to how good gargoyles already are. And there's pretty much only one signature drop that's actually worth being there. So yeah, that'd be nice.
I'm honestly I didn't really use a cannon while doing my Slayer anyway, but either way, I'm not too fussed. Again, this fence is pretty nice, but it is a case of that if you put a poll out to the players, it's the only real way that you can tell 100% how the user base feels, as opposed to a feedback system for a blog and that. So if it was to get polled, and then I'm happy with the answer whichever way it goes.
I feel like it was the vocal people that were the reason why it was intended to be not tradable, but if it was actually polled, it would easily pass.
Yeah, I
Well, yeah, but it was passed into the game as being untradeable. It was very clear in the dev block. It was in bold, probably.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny how it's oh, feedback, don't make it tradable. Oh, wait, should we? Just so quickly.
Yeah, well, I mean, apparently they had some miscommunication in the office, which is a perfectly fine reason to give. But I mean, I don't want to accuse Kieran of pushing what he wants to see in the game. But I think people have done that in the past. But is that the next? Oh, I've spoiled the next question. Sorry.
Later.
I've lost my train of thought, Randy. Honestly.
Yeah,
whatever.
And I've spoken about things on my stream several times. And for me, I think the actual balancing of it now. This is where I'm able to recognize something that's not balanced, but still have a different opinion from what I know is not balanced. So I think that there's been a lot of updates to Slayer in the last year and a half that it's been a pretty big increase in XP per hour, but it hasn't really changed the dynamics of slaying really to any degree. Superior Slayers, silver jewelry, would be probably the two things I'd most refer back to. It doesn't change what you would do in any other situation. It just increases the XP per hour and the GP per hour from what you would already be doing. And adding in these cannonballs, making them tradable, like that would be a sizable increase. It'd be less than 10% XP per hour on a couple tasks, which would make up the small minority of your time slaying. But I feel like this falls into that one category of not really changing the dynamics of how you slay, but just increasing the XP per hour of what you'd already be doing anyway. I understand that, yeah, it would make the boss more profitable, and it would make Slayer more XP per hour. I don't really think it would be balanced if it was tradable. I think that the dust being untradeable is kind of a nice, hey, spent time killing this boss, now you can kill the other things for Slayer at a little bit faster rate. Saying that, hell yeah, I want this shit to be tradable. I've got like 500k cannonballs. I'm not gonna merch them or anything, but they're at a nice price right now, and I'm gonna keep buying them up, expecting this to go up in price. But
How much are they right now?
172 ish.
Yeesh, that's cheap.
Yeah, it is. I don't really know how much the dust would cost, but I don't think it would really be too balanced if it became tradable. I think it would easily pass a poll. I'm talking at least 85%, but I don't think it's balanced, but I want it. Pretty much my summary. What about you,
I'm
Zoid?
glad
How
you
much did you
clarified.
how much did you hate and love my answer at the same time?
Well, I was just about to say, I'm very glad you clarified your position midway through, because I was just thinking, man, Randy seems to want them untradeable. I'm going to have to reconsider my position here. Because if you want it untradeable, there must be
Have
some
your own
angle.
opinion.
I mean, yeah, anything that makes Slayer less melee XP and faster, I really would not like to see. Label polls untradeable. I think they should remain untradeable. I appreciate the answer. It's the same as like a bloody politician answer. Like, well, we'll ask everyone what they think. But you can only do that so many bloody times till it looks like you're just trying to get the answer you want.
Yeah.
So I agree. Is one poll. It'll probably pass. It isn't that big of a deal, but I don't like the argument. It's used for many other things too, like the bloody wilderness ditch. If they ask that, I'm gonna be very annoyed.
5th time.
Whatever. Yeah, I don't really want to see things being pushed from JMods, and it kind of looks like it is.
I don't know. With my real only issue with the cannonball dust thing is that it doesn't really change how you would otherwise say. Like, if those things stay untradeable or become tradable, the way in which I slay would not change whatsoever.
Yeah, it wouldn't be efficient on your own.
I would still be putting a cannonball into a cannon. I would just be getting more XP for it. Yeah, I'd be paying more money, but what of a difference is it actually bringing? And I'm making these arguments knowing that I'm arguing against what I want, but it's all about being able to recognize what's good and bad for the game while still having your selfish desires at the same time. Fine line.
I don't think I really mind which way it goes, whether it comes in or not. I think it really depends on what price it's going to settle at. Because is it going to be a case of people choose between cannonballs and granite balls, depending on how much they are, like what you're, how much you're willing to spend, or is it going to be okay? Granite balls are out. Everyone is going to use granite balls because they're cheap enough.
Oh no, I don't think that would be the case.
I think that the dust.
I think the rich boys would use granite.
Yeah, you would have to. I think that it would be a very small amount of people that do end up doing the like the granite cannonballs for everything. I think that's kind of the stuff you'd see like post 99 Slayers doing. Because I think that those balls would probably end up getting to be really expensive. Like, cannonballs are probably like right now, like next to the Kodai wand, cannonballs are probably the most undervalued item in the game. Like, if cannonballs were like 500 each, 600 each, people would probably be complaining like, holy crap, that's a lot. But like, if cannonballs were like 500 each, that'd be a solid price for them even still. So I would pay any amount for a granite cannonball because I know that they would be very undervalued in price.
I mean, the idea was that it was supposed to be a mid-level boss, but at the moment it seems to be high-level people killing it.
Oh, hold on. I think that comes later.
How does it?
We can't. We're not psychic, Abra. Leave me and
That's
Arp
it.
alone.
That's it.
You have the document. Never
I
mind.
didn't read the document. I'm not doing this on the fly. It comes from the heart, Abra.
What about
Go
you,
on, Arp.
Aubrey? What are your thoughts?
I think they should keep them untradeable.
All right.
Simple.
Good answer.
Alright, so let's talk about the mechanics of the boss. So with that, you're able to safe spot Dusk and just kill Dawn. There's a link available. Someone will be kind enough to link it.
Yeah, I already did it.
And you'll be able to kill the other one on the side. Kind of very similar to Twin Furies on RS3. Nah, I have no idea what that is. But I think that the mechanics are interesting. I don't have an issue with the mechanics. My complaint would just be like that 15 to 17 second cutscene before every single kill. I think that maybe toggleable, or maybe it just shows that for the first 50 times or however many times you do that. Because like if you do an entire task with like 200 Gargs there, see, that adds on like 15. All right, so 15 seconds. You do 200 Gargs. I don't know my math.
I didn't know that was a thing. I'm going to kill this now because that's going to remind me of playing World of Warcraft and bloody cinematics.
A lot of time.
Can't wait.
The cinematics look alright, but I think that they're a little too long to happen every single time. Do you think, Abra?
Oh, I guess it could have just taken off. Yeah, the safe spotting might need to be looked into somehow, but yeah, definitely toggle the cutscene.
Aubrey?
Yeah, I don't really know much about the mechanics, so I probably should have removed myself.
Yeah, probably should have.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's a question that could have actually asked. How many people here have actually killed it?
I have.
All right, we got one.
Tell us about your experience with it. What do you think about the mechanics of it?
I mean, he tested it, so.
Well, yeah.
Some of it. So yeah, no, I think the mechanics are like a good introduction for the level that's intended of them. I don't necessarily have a problem with the warp mechanic. Like, it is a genuine thing.
Like, was that when you guys were developing it and testing it? Was that like? I'm sure it was killed a number of times. Was that like one of the methods? Like, what was that like the intended way to be able to kill them?
That was the first method I used.
Okay.
Because, as in the first method that I tried to use. So, yeah, it's yeah, I think you have to remember where it's aimed at.
Yeah.
And it is one of those things that kind of like, if we take loads of stuff away or add 400 stomp mechanics like Corp or whatever, I think it's just going to cause people to not enjoy it as much. So the whole point is to like introduce people to mechanics that are not literally just like, for want of a better phrase, tank and spank. It's I like the way it's been implemented and that we're trying to do new things with bosses all the time. Yeah, I think it keeps it fresh, and from the feedback I've seen, a lot of people quite enjoy the fact that it's different.
All right. Do you guys think that with all the mechanics and everything that is with it, kind of going off of what he was talking about with the spank and tank, do you think that the mechanics of it are too extravagant for what is kind of aimed to be a lower level piece of content?
I don't think so. I think it's fine as it is. I mean, there are a lot of bosses where it is literally just hit it and then wait. But this, like Rock was saying, is a good introduction for people. It's supposed to be a mid-level boss. It's not supposed to be anything too intense, but we do obviously have stuff which is more intense than that. We've got the Inferno, got Corporeal Beast, got Zulrah. I don't think the mechanics are too over the top. I think it is a nice way to get people used to it.
It's kind of funny how it's lower leveled, but it's much more intense than I don't know, like Kraken. So that's kind of funny how that goes. But
Well,
I mean, just on its own,
was made at a different time.
Yeah, I know. Maybe it could be reworked or something. Like I would think the progression would be that the things as the levels go up, that it would get harder, not just require a higher level.
That's not really something you can predict when the ones that we have were made,
I get,
3 years
you'd have
ago.
to kind of, you'd have to kind of retroactively do that then. But hold on. Oh, I had thoughts, but I lost it. Oh yeah, but there was a thread on Reddit. A guy had lots of feedback, and I think one of the things that I could do, not in terms of mechanics, but I don't know, maybe lower the hit points of them a little bit, and also the orbs, they like get sometimes way too spread out.
I think that it's definitely it's clear that it stands out that it's much more involved mechanics wise than many other bosses that require higher levels and gear and stuff to kill. But that being said, I think it sets a good precedent because I think that there's no reason for mechanics in the game not to be involved and interesting, and I think that's a good direction to go in. So I think it's good.
Yeah, I really wish that like most bosses had unique mechanics. It's a really good direction to be going in.
I think that it's very good that they've spent a lot of effort on some content that is designed probably more for mid-level casual players in the end, because it doesn't look like people like us, well, more like high-level PVMers, to be honest, are going to be doing it that often, and I'm very glad to see efforts being spent on people who play the game casually rather than people who play, 70 hours a week.
I don't think that it's too extravagant at all. Especially as a PVM noob myself, I feel like that could be something that I could pick up and be able to start doing. The unique mechanics, I like that. Want to see more of that. I know that there's only so many different mechanics you can have to a boss before it's kind of way too similar to another. You got the spank and tanks that really dominated the pre-old school release and the first Slayer boss pets that we had, or Slayer bosses that we had. So I think making them extravagant, the word that Trickle described it, I think that we need to see more things like that. The engaging content should be one of the most important things that is developed.
And it also spreads out. You go, Rock.
I was going to say, I completely agree in that aspect that we should be doing more things which are more involved in mechanic-wise. And this kind of basically heads that up. I don't think it's too extravagant. I mean, there was people still even normally when things come out, when they're this kind of level, people find the mechanics out pretty easy and then start working with them. But there were still people that weren't quite sure on mechanics, like a good day after release. And this is only level 75 content in that aspect. So that's what I enjoyed about it, that people were still finding out stuff despite where the content is aimed at.
Yeah, sure. It's also great that rather than just shitting out something crap, we can have something that is actually developed, and not say anything else is shit. I mean, in the sense of, if we were just going to say, all right, we want a new boss, let's put some out crap because it's only for mid-level players, we for one get a hell of a load of bosses a year, and no one would ever do them again. This is something that's at least unique. I also like to see content spread out more because we get way too much of it. Gargoyles took plenty of time, and that's great. Some people to work on too. I'm sure whoever did this had a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, I think that it's overall it's really nice, well developed. Drop table might be on the little lighter side, but it is a level 75 boss at the same time. Got Gotta get that portal changed, and it'll be perfect. All right, so Rock isn't going to be able to, we appreciate Rock will be unable to comment on the next two questions, so us boys will discuss. So, over the last 2 weeks, came publicly known about a bug that was going on at Volcanic Mine. This bug allowed you to get upwards of like 180k XP per hour, which was more than double what was pulled. In that devlog they had, or whatever, they mentioned that tick abuse would not be possible, and people were able to tick manipulate and get these really good rates. Do you think that the people that did this should have any consequences for the bug abuse? And what are your thoughts on the players being able to do this, even though it was supposed to not be possible? And do you think that doing this could have an effect on the tick abuse picture, potentially putting an end to it altogether? We'll talk more about that in the Q&A section that they had, but overall, what do you think about this bug?
Right, so as for a consequence, I think minimal amount is okay if their intentions are good, as in, like do a little bit just to test so you know how it is, so you can actually give good feedback, like, hey, this is how you can fix it, like, this is how different it is, nerf it by 50% and you're good, or whatever. But beyond that, yeah, there's no reason. I would say, depending how much, or I don't know if you do that exactly, but I would say potentially up to like a 2-week ban on that. Not a perm, but yeah, like 2-week could be appropriate based on how much and just what intensity. But yeah, this shouldn't have even been a thing. Yeah, it was kind of just an oversight. I don't know why it wasn't tested like with that in mind, because I don't think there's anything in the codes. Well, I don't know, but that specifically makes it not possible. Like within raids, the fishing and such, you can't tick manipulate just because of how the code is. Like it happens at certain intervals only. And as for like the effects on tick manipulation, I don't think this actually would have any. It just the issue needs to be fixed, and I think it already has been like a while ago.
Oh yeah, it was fixed.
Yeah, it was
fixed immediately after. For me, I think I have a little bit of a different view on it. I think that players that abuse this for more than 2 hours and didn't report it at any time.
Oh yeah, I forgot about reporting. Yeah,
I think that ultimately is what it probably comes down to, is if you made the effort to report it. I think maybe just posting like video about it, showing it, isn't always enough. I hope Aubrey has some enthusiasm with this question. Time comes for him to answer, but I don't know. Personally, I feel like if people knowingly abuse this for more than 2 hours without reporting it at any point in time, that they should be punished some sort of ban. Not permanent by any means, but anywhere from 2-day to 2-week, I think would be appropriate. I've had one experience in my time where I've come across a bug that happened, and I think this was a couple years ago. This is when like the max cape was kind of given its whole effect of being able to be reassigned the previous task that you had, and pretty much I was assigned to do a Jad task, and I did my Jad. At this time doing Jad, this was back when Slayer was like in that 55k XP per hour range. Like doing a Jad task at like 70k XP per hour break even was seen as a really good task. So I did my task. Then I got reassigned. He said, "Oh, you're a very skilled Slayer," whatever it says. And then I was assigned 140 Jads. Not 140 Zars, like 140 Jads. So what I did, I killed my one Jad that I had as an assignment, and I was getting XP the entire time, as you would normally. And my task just didn't end. I killed Jad, and shit, I could kill 139 more of them. And I went into the fight cave to start up like what would have been a second, like my second Jad that task, and I saw that I was still getting Slayer XP, killing like the little, like the wave 1 things, the bats, whatever they are, and I saw that right there. Okay, wow, this is like 9 mil Slayer XP of making money without spending any points, and this is clearly not what they intended from this. And IAS immediately reported it, and I think that's what the players that discovered this should have done immediately. The dev blog states that the tick manipulation is not going to be possible, so you're able to start tick manipulating and getting twice as much XP per hour. Like we have to, there has to be some expectation on the players that are abusing these bugs. Like most of the people that did that have been sweating this game for thousands of hours. They're smart enough to realize that what was going on there was a bug, because it was actually defined that, hey, you're not going to be able to tick manipulate here. It's not like things that we
Who
had
said
in
it
the
was
past.
a bug?
It's not like things that we had in the past where thieving from heroes, there wasn't anything explicitly stated there. There was an actual issue with the coding of how it affected thieving. Whereas this right here clearly say, you're not going to be able to tick manipulate. You tick manipulate anyway. You're getting twice the XP as you're supposed to be getting. Like, there should be some expectation on the player that they are self-aware that they are abusing a bug. That's my speech. Every one of you motherfuckers should be banned that abused it and didn't report it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the QA guys are kind of hitting themselves in the head, because it's the first thing I test when I saw, they're making a new rock, because the first thing I do is try and 3-tick it. So for me, I feel like it again reiterates, it gives another argument to a point I made before about beta testing. I do believe they actually had people in Jagex testing it. I don't know if that was just for Inferno or something else, but I believe I heard people saying that they tested Volcanic Mine. But I would like to see beta servers like we've gotten before with the raids weapons.
Yep.
I think we had. I would like to see beta servers for skilling content. Most things are quite polished, but especially on things like XP rates, which again was a problem in Volcanic Mine. Obviously, it was fixed quickly, and it was onto this time instead of over, which is great. Yeah, I think those things could come out more polished as a finished product if we had beta testing.
And players are free labor.
They're free labor. We'd gladly do it.
We actually pay to play the game. We are paying to test the content essentially. So, yeah, I think more things in the future, if it could happen on a more regular basis, I think it would be pretty sweet, where we have like these little enclosed areas of beta testing. If you go back to like Zaya, with the Soul Runes thing, if they had a very quick, open beta on Zaya for 1 weekend.
Could have been open for 5 minutes, I mean.
Shower gift.
It could have been open for 5 minutes, and we'd have all said it's a problem. I think it's something that is massively undervalued by Jagex. I think they can take advantage of it.
I'll skip that next question. But all right, go ahead, Arp.
It's difficult to say. The fact that it did explicitly say tick manipulation isn't allowed, I feel that if it was abused, people should be banned, because, I mean, like Randy's saying, it's just common sense. At the very least, you should be reporting it, and then if it's not a bug, I mean, nothing will happen. But the fact that they've actually gone out and said tick manipulation shouldn't be allowed, people go in there and try tick manipulating and then don't tell anyone when they realize that it works, and then if someone keeps doing it, then it shouldn't be allowed.
Yeah, this form of tick manipulation works the same at the Rune Essence mines, and it's kind of a weird one, but I remember Bodhi doing it on stream a while ago. So it's not necessarily anything new, just rather uncommon to see, so I'm not surprised that people figured it out. And yeah, they should be banned. Back in 2015, I was banned for doing an hour of bugged heroes and then making a video showing it. So if I got banned for that, then this is exactly the same, and they should get banned for that too.
I don't want to name any other names, but people have already said Zulu. So does anyone know how long he knew?
I was hoping we could just
Without
talk
recording.
about without naming a single name.
Well, I only mentioned it because someone else said it, I thought.
I
Or
don't
my
thi-
mistake.
I don't think anyone on the podcast said any names, which was
Oh.
good on them. So
Well, I'll take it back. I didn't say anyone.
I think they look at a few different things though when considering if something is bug abuse or not. Like the fact if they did tell other people, encouraging people to do it as well, if they publicize it and all that sort of thing. I suppose the only dodgy thing here is whether or not it should have been disclosed earlier.
yeah, I don't know. Definitely topic, but on to more positive things here. Let's talk about the wilderness rejuvenation. I made shit. Why? I was hoping Trickle would have got that video. I made a video talking about this. I very excited for the wilderness rejuvenation devlog. So we're gonna talk about it, break it down, kind of step by step here. So the first thing that's being talked about is the chaos altar, which is the 38 wilderness, and there'll be kind of like a guy standing outside there who will be able to unnote your bones. And this is in multi-combat, and pretty much like doing this with the proposed devlog, you get 25% more XP per hour than a gilded altar with 2 burners lit. And if you've done the wilderness elite, you get 35% more XP per bone than what you would get at a gilded altar with 2 burners lit. So let's talk a little bit about this. For me, this is the one problem that I had with the devlog. I thought everything else was damn good. But for this, I don't really like it. I think that there are a number of ways that could kind of fix this. I think that the easiest solution to this would just be to make that altar, you can't manually use bones on that altar. Just auto uses the bones for you at the at the same rate that you would on the altar in the player-owned house. Because in the devlog, there's like math given in estimates on how many inventories you do per hour compared to what you would do at a player-owned house. And I think that the easiest way of balancing this out would just be making it you can't manually use bones on it. I think that a player manually, like in the player-owned house, manually one ticking bones should remain the best XP per hour. Looking at it, 99, I promise you, greater than 99% of players that train their prayer on a gilded altar are doing it AFK. So this content appeals to every single one of those people. If the wilderness one is made to where you can't manually do it, I think that it appeals to every single one of those players while still maintaining the player-owned house one tick bone method. And that for me, I think would just be the easiest solution to it, and that would make it, in my opinion, like the XP buffs that they are going to be adding onto the bones. I'm okay with that, so long as it's made to where you can't manually use the bones. I think that given that it's in a multi-combat area, that's pretty good, because there would be, I mean, there is a single combat area relatively close though, but yeah, this is the only thing in the blog that I had issues with. Aubrey, what do you think about it?
I don't know. I would never do it. Be a pain in the ass. But I don't know. I don't really feel like it's overpowered because realistically, it's just not going to be feasible at all. It's going to be so camped and so high risk.
I mean, for me, I feel like early on, yeah, there's going to be a lot of people doing it, but for me, I really hate content that kind of pushes skillers into the wilderness.
Yeah, I do too.
With how much greater XP per hour this is, it essentially is forcing the players out there.
I kind of feel like being realistic, though, is really not even going to be worth considering doing it, though.
I mean, I think it'd be very easy to hire a couple guys to protect you, pay them a couple $1 million an hour, and I mean, there's like 70, 80 worlds or whatever. And
Didn't you have a hard enough time just trying to find runners for prayer?
You don't need runners when you got the guy standing right outside. Shit, PKers.
Yeah, but trying to find bodyguards might be kind of difficult.
I think
People
running
are willing
is,
to just stand around for hours.
from my experience in both Hunter in the Wilderness and runners at a player-owned portal, it is 20 times easier to get bodyguards, I'll use the word, than runners. PKers love PKing other people. They'll be out there, sure, yeah, they're guarding you, but they will fight everyone that comes in their way. They will have fun doing it. They're getting all the loot from the people that they PK, and they're getting paid to just sit there. Like, so much of PKing, like, watch any stream on Twitch. So much of PKing is sitting on your nuts, waiting for a fight to happen. Imagine doing that same thing, sitting, waiting for a fight to happen, and getting paid to do it. I think that, yeah, you hire a couple guys. It is multi-combat, so I mean, honestly, there's nothing stopping a clan from just coming in and dragon bowing you. But some of the issues that I have with this is that you could have an alt sitting out there that is your meal and has all of this, has all the bones, and I mean, you're out there running anyway. You can see that there's nobody in the area. You got your guys out there protecting you. You log into your alt for just a second, trade over 1,000 bones, log back off it. I think that there are a lot of ways of, like, I understand that it's intended to be like high risk, high reward, but there are so many ways of minimalizing the risk that I feel like it's way too overpowered with the proposed idea. If they made it automatically on the altar, then I got no problem with everything else they got in there.
I usually wouldn't accuse people of being biased here, but because it's you, Randy, I feel like you'd have a very different tune if you hadn't done prayer. I also think you're massively
hold on.
Let
me cut back in there because I really fucking hated doing Hunter in the Wilderness, and like
we had a great time, Randy. Don't lie.
Well,
you made it difficult for yourself.
All right. If I already hadn't finished prayer, my ass would be saying here, "Damn, dude, I do not want to be forced to go out in the wilderness, forced to hire bodyguards, and have to train prayer in such a stressful environment."
I'm fine with a stressful environment. I think you're massively overstating how easy it's going to be to do this. You're assuming
there's a lot of worlds. There's not a lot of PKers. That's why they're doing a wilderness rejuvenation.
You're assuming that you can realistically be 75% as efficient as you could doing it with no risk. I really doubt that. I mean, you say, yeah, you can bring a mule up with 1,000 bones. That's still, 3 mil? 3 mil at a time you have to risk, even if you're bringing yourself, 10 minutes worth of bones. I think you're massively overstating how easy it's going to be to this. I don't think anyone's going to do this. I'm fine with it. You're making 40% not want to do it.
Rock, what do you think about it?
I'm not gonna lie, I hadn't actually read the dev blog on the wilderness stuff because I'm like.
Your name's in the dev blog. They're lying.
I know it sounds bad, but I have my tasks at work and projects going forward. I don't think I'm going to be working on this, so I hadn't really paid that much attention until this point. But I don't know. I honestly don't think it will be used that much. I can see why people would use it, but I don't think at any point it would replace the player-owned house altar or even the ensouled heads.
If you look in context of right now, Hunter with 3 olds and a bunch of PKs to help you is 280k an hour, and still there's one person doing it. I think you're massively overstating how many people will do this. No one will. If one guy does it, then still it's basically nobody.
Just make it to where you can't manually use the bones on the altar.
then definitely no one will do it because there's no incentive to.
What?
Alkin had a little idea with that to only auto, but you use 2, and then you have to just space the NPC to unnote such that it gives a balanced rate of 400k or so.
Why is that balanced rate? Why would you go into the wilderness to get less XP an hour?
No, because the whole idea goes back on the 99% of people are AFK and getting fucking 200k an hour, 250k. If they are actually not
these people AFKing aren't going to be AFKing with bones and imagery in the wilderness, are they? It's not designed for these players.
There are many people that are
They'll do it and they'll pay for it.
They are AFKing the bones, but they are sitting there watching and paying attention to every single bone that is getting automatically used on the altar.
Yeah, sure, but also the vast majority of these players who are AFKing the bones are very worried about the money they're spending on these bones. They're not going to risk even one bone out there.
I don't like it.
I could see Iron Men running up with 3 bones at a time so they protect them. I'd do that. Imagine, also, what are the requirements of doing this? That's a really good point, because this could be insane for low-level Iron Men.
There are no requirements.
Yeah, that's insane for a low-level Iron Man. I found a reason to oppose this. I would have done that.
I just thought of something you could do. You could just teleport up to Gorak and then just have 1 inventory of bones and just do that every inventory.
Well, I was just thinking, like, yeah, you could be a level 10 Iron Man and take 3 bones. 3 Dragon Bones. How much XP is that each time? Like, 1,500 a run? That's worth it. Better than doing Ectofungus.
I just think where if a team is out there PKing, if they decide to kill you, you're gonna die. So even if you do,
I think you're massively overrating PKers out there.
Us with the defense levels Arp can do quite well.
all right. I don't know. I just feel like it's similar to bosses. You know, bosses have been out for ages, but they're still PKing hotspots. I don't think this is something that would die down after a few days. I think it's something that would remain a PKing hotspot. And I mean, depends what gear you wear, I suppose, but I just think that no one's going to be interested in doing this.
Tell you what, if this does get introduced, what we will get for sure is another framed video where he pretends to be a bone runner. And I can't wait.
Alright, the next thing that's in the devlog is the Mage Arena 2. So to kind of talk about the Mage Arena 2 a little bit, you got to kill 3 bosses in the wilderness. They're going to be in high-level multi-wilderness in a random location. Got to go out there and kill them. And you get like these 3 different pieces, and when you're finished with that, you then turn it in to get the new like the new Mage Cape. The new Mage Cape has plus 20 mage attack compared to the current ones in game that give plus 10. And you know, this will kind of bring up the whole creating a new hotspot with players trying to kill these bosses in the high-level multi-wilderness. What do you think about Mage Arena 2, the concept of it, and the stats of the cape as well?
Right, so it's kind of funny this is even called Mage Arena 2. It's because there is no arena. It's just randomly around the wilderness. But yeah, it seems pretty nifty. But and the cape, yeah, the extra accuracy is whatever. It's kind of useless. But it could probably do away with losing a little bit of the magic defense, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a cool idea. The cape isn't really going to be that OP, I don't think, because magical accuracy doesn't really matter for most things. And I like that the capes aren't like absurd looking and that they're just inverted color of the original ones, I think. Like between the bottom part and the main cape.
Aren't they just placeholders?
Oh. I hope not.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, we haven't seen the max cape variations either.
Alright, listen guys, this is going really awfully. Let's all pay attention to the order.
Oh, is it my turn?
No, it's Aubrey.
I just won.
Then it's Rock.
You sound like Abra.
That's
Cousins, by the way.
Embarrassing.
Cousins, by
So, yeah, I mean, the stipulation to add that obviously when these dev blogs come out, they are here for feedback. So, I 20, I don't know. I think I agree with the fact where the accuracy probably isn't going to make a lot of difference, and a lot of it will come from the defensive bonus. Yeah, I would say maybe 20 on the magic defensive bonus might be a little bit too much. But yeah, I'd like to see an extension to the Mage Arena in this sense. But yeah, I agree with the fact that it's not an arena. If it's literally extended, it's finding something to call it, really.
I like this. I think it's a really good idea, and everything about it I like. Aside from the magic attack bonus, yeah, I mean, magic attack bonus with how the game is kind of been developed, your magic accuracy doesn't matter. Like, it does matter so much more for PKing than it does for like Slayer or PVMing. And you wouldn't be if. Just a reminder for you guys that are out there doing like your barrage task or your ice bursting a Slayer task, and you're doing it in Arams. It'd be much better doing it off in some prayer robes or Prozy, because your magic accuracy doesn't matter. Save some money on the pots.
Except as smoke devils. Except smokes.
Save some money on some pots. For me, I gave a little bit of feedback on this for what I would like to see. I do think that the magic defense is pretty solid. It really is, but like offensively, something that I would like to see would be like a 2 or a 2.5% magic damage increase. Whatever it is that would increase the max hit of barrage by 1. That would be what I'd like to see from it. Because for me, then I'd justify it being worth getting, at least for what I would use it for. But even without it, if it just happens to be the way that it is, I know that a lot of people are going to do it. Probably PKers would be the ones that would most benefit from this. But I just make it a little bit better offensively, and that's all the feedback I have. But the idea of having to go around the wilderness in high-level wilderness in multi-area, killing a boss that's in a random location, I think that's a brilliant design. I like that.
Maybe even like +2 prayer bonus.
Randy, did you just bring up the thing we talked about the other day in regards to what you thought the offense bonus should be?
The 2% bonus?
Yeah, did you say that?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, good. Then I can say how stupid an idea it is.
All right, good. I was glad. I wanted to make sure. I wanted to make sure I set you up right.
Lovely, because I mentioned this at the time. I think it's a terrible idea for them to push barraging, especially. The plus percentage damage is it's a really short-sighted offensive design choice, because every time you add this percent bonus, they bloody stack. So yeah, we have 2%, 15%, and another 2, 1%. This doesn't equal. This isn't adding them up. This is multiplying them. It's a really short-sighted way to design the game, and it's going to get out of hand quickly if we keep going down it. If you want to go down the route of 2%, I would like to see it that it's only on the primary target and does not work with barrage. Well, in that sense, it can work on the primary target, like how Chins used to work with the bloody 15% thing, right? I believe it only worked on the primary target. Yeah, the Salvami. That's a fine compromise for me. Something about so the running around the wilderness thing, I like that. It's all good and all. I have an issue with the fact that it mentions the hot and cold device. Sure, I feel like it's overused. I'd like to see. I can tie in my. I've been having a great time writing about this lately in Toto's Discord. Nobody bloody does clues properly anymore. I would like to see a sextant and watch for this quest, which you can't actually cheat on. Nobody uses the sextant and watch anymore, and I'm going to rail against that. That's my new thing. So yeah, I'd like to see it moved away from the hot and cold thing and implement some other way of moving around, figuring out where you're supposed to go. The last thing is, somebody in the chat mentioned, why is there a dev block for this when the content's been made already? That's something I didn't pick up. I also don't see why this has already been. It looks like they're placeholders, but it's basically been done before it's even been polled. I don't like that.
So to add to that, this was developed by Mod Jed in his free time as something that he wanted to do in his personal project time. So
free time isn't personal project time, though, is it? It's still working.
So the personal project time we get is time to better ourselves and design stuff that we would like.
Sure.
At the end of the day, it's always going to be put through the players first.
Yes, if this is the time told off.
If he's decided that this is what he wants to do because it's something he feels passionate about, then by all means, he's that time. If the players don't want it in, the players don't want it in. At the end of the day, he's used the time that he is allocated to develop himself personally.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
I have the same thing where, I mean, as a QA, to better myself personally, what I do is I start learning the tools of the trade from the other groups. So, yeah, it's like, so a lot of my work in my tap time is playing with the artist tools, where I get to design stuff and things like that. So, It's basically a lot of what we want to do, what we feel will better ourselves.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's fair, but it comes back to the idea of I don't like the idea of, and I'm not accusing Jed of doing it either. And I know it's disingenuous to say that because it just puts the idea in people's heads. But just the fact that he's worked on this, for a lot of people, it's just like, oh, it's already done, may as well. I think a compromise to this is, I would say maybe he just pretended he didn't do it. I don't like the idea of him having already done it and then say, look, we've done this, guys. Do you want it or not? Because he's just going to pass. It's not at all. I think it completely moves away from the idea of this being a player-driven game. I appreciate it still has to pass a poll, and it looks like it's a democratic system, but it's not. It is being pushed by somebody at the end of the day. And also, like, yeah, it's free time and it's stuff to work on to better yourself as a developer, but I don't think that's a valid argument to say. Like, it's free time in the sense of you can do what you like, but you're still being paid, and your job is supposed to be to what the players want.
Everyone's entitled to their opinion.
Yeah, I kind of disagree on that end.
Zoid losing an argument.
Of people to decide for themselves.
All right. Next that was on the dev blog is Rev Caves. I made a point about this when they announced it at RuneFest. I remember I don't know who it was that delivered it, but I remember them saying Rev Caves are coming, and not that many people clapped or anything. And he's like, "Come on, guys, Rev Caves!" And then you got a half-heartedly woohoo. I don't know who said. I just remember that from RuneFest. So I wasn't really familiar with what Rev Caves were. I was about to answer the question myself. Let me talk about them a little bit. So all right, it's a multi-combat area. It will have lesser demons, hellhounds, ankus, green dragons. So this will be the only place in the game where you'll have those demons, hellhounds, ankus, green dragons, and whatnot that are multi-combat. You can also place a cannon down here, which I think is very interesting.
I wasn't even thinking about
it. It would be I would like to see the numbers of someone testing it for Slayer. Realistically, it would not be worth it just due to the severe high probability of death. But I think that it's very interesting. I like other stuff on it. But all right, sorry. Then there would also be this PvP armor, which apparently is recycled from RS3. There's Vestas, Status, and Morgans. Range, mage, and melee range. Melee. There's 2 melees. All right, and then Zuriels. So these things are really good, best in slot, last an hour, and then they're gone. So what do you guys think about the Rev Caves overall? What is your opinion on them?
In the question, I feel like you saying recycle RS3 content twice pretty much sums up for me. Seems lazy, a word, I guess. I appreciate there's a lot of there seems to be a lot of demand for it, but maybe we could put an old school twist on it. Also, yeah, the armor. I feel we just got armor. I don't really want more. Well, I mean, it depends on your timescale, I guess. I feel like I just got armor.
Dude, I've been using Bando since 2013.
Yeah. Also, somebody wrote "Woo nostalgia." No one cares. I mean, this is nostalgia from after 2007. This is some weird nostalgia. I'm not finished reading the dev blog, so I can't give a full opinion. But yeah, I don't like the sound of it.
Finish reading it and then give a more thorough response.
Okay, I'll speak twice. Great.
All right, Aubrey, what about you?
Well, this is not something I ever did in the past, and it's not something I would ever do now, so I guess I don't really care either way.
Oh, one thing that I forgot to mention is that killing the monsters that are in there, you get they're estimating 2 mil GP per hour, farming the monsters that are inside.
I think that's specifically only the thing that wasn't mentioned, the Revenants.
Ah.
Yeah, they're the only ones that should drop the armors.
Okay. So I really like the idea of this. I like the new things that it adds in, the multi-combat area for 4 or 5 different monsters that have never been in multi-combat in RuneScape. I like that. I
So how
may.
is that different from the prayer thing?
Huh?
High risk for higher Slayer XP?
Yeah,
Well,
Randy.
I have mentioned I'm able to
It's
recognize
almost like you
balance and
haven't done Slayer yet.
almost, but like no one in their right mind is actually going to slay out there. But I
Oh,
do
yeah, but
think that
everyone would risk their bones.
but I do think that it's interesting. And that all the new content that it adds in there, I think is going to be a huge hotspot for activity. And the few things that they have in there, so like these revenants like are randomly attacking you and whatnot, and there's like a reward that or a drop that will stop them from attacking you. There's like teleports out there. Seems like it seems very well developed and pieced together. I don't have an opinion on the PvP armor. Like when the time comes around to vote on that, I'm just gonna skip the question. Again, like I don't really have that big of a opinion on the armor, but I think that everything else surrounding it is pretty nice. You know, it's like I don't know what the official thing is. I'm just call it the Wilderness God Wars dungeon. I don't know what is the official name for that thing. You know what I'm talking about?
For what?
For like
I
getting
think
the
what you called it's
keys.
pretty accurate.
For getting the keys.
What you called it is pretty accurate, I'd say.
Yeah, I think it's just like the Wilderness God Wars done.
I think it
Whatever.
seems like a just more better developed version of that. You know, I would almost rather see, like I'd almost be okay with them just completely trashing that thing and putting the key in the Rev Caves.
I like that idea.
Oh yes.
Oh, would have
I
to
don't
rework
like-
the dowry.
I
the
don't
time
like JMod's
difference,
looking
right?
ideas.
I love when JMods like my ideas.
It's an interesting way of
Alright,
looking at it,
anyways.
that's for sure.
All right. So, anyways, yeah, I don't think people would actually do Slayer there because it's just way too likely for you to get killed. Because people are going to be going through there, not necessarily even to go to the rooms that you'd be slaying in, but just like going through to the Revenant specifically. You would die definitely. So that's whatever. But it is cool that it'll exist. I don't know. Maybe people will protect. The armor is Vestas Stadius. I don't really mind too much. It's not like way too much higher. It's like an extra max hit or so. And remember that the stuff degrades, and as soon as it degrades it'll be untradeable and you can't repair it. So I don't know. It'll just be used for PKing. It won't be like making drops from bosses cheaper because people won't use it for that. Because depending on the price, it'll probably be too expensive. Morrigan's is pretty useless. It's like just barely better than Arma, and then obviously it doesn't have the prayer bonus or god protection. And again, it degrades. Zoriel's useless as well. It's like the same magic accuracy as Ancestral, but without the damage bonus, and it's probably going to be more expensive than Aram's. So I don't know. I don't see it being used.
Yeah,
and
like,
yeah,
you
it's
talk
weird
about
that it's like
you talk
nostalgia
about
from
prices.
2007.
What kind of price you like? For those, can you guys tell me like what the
I don't
prices
know, it's
were
gotta
back
be.
in the? Can you guys tell me what the prices were back in the day? Like,
I think it. How much did it last for before?
Would anyone other than Zam consider slaying in this stuff?
Ew, God, no.
Okay.
But I think it lasted more than an hour before, didn't it? Or was it only an hour before in the other server?
Part of me thinks it was 10, but I'm not.
Yeah, I think it was. I was thinking it was 10 as well. Oh yeah, and also, Anime just mentioned like exactly what happens on death. Like, in a sense, is it going to be injecting GP?
It probably would just disappear on death.
No, it used to drop.
Well, no, I mean, for if someone kills you with it, they have to get something. But
Yeah,
I think in
that's
the
a good
death log
point.
it said it'd be gold, but that's just coming out of nowhere.
How much gold would it be? Because I imagine this
Yeah,
is
I
going to be
don't know.
high risk armor, right?
I don't know. They didn't mention a number.
That sounds concerning, doesn't it? Did you say? Did you say the armor we already have is better than half of this armor that is supposed to be like overpowered crap that lasts 10 hours?
Yeah, no sense. And actually, it's only 1 hour for
Oh
us.
no! What have we done? We need to go back. We strayed too far.
From my perspective, I'm never going to be claimed to be like amazingly knowledgeable about PvP and stuff like that. So when it comes to the effects that armors they're going to have on it, I can never be 100% sure. But I know this is something that did reinvigorate the wilderness back when it was first created, and it's often been something requested by the PvP community itself. So I do think that they do need some love in that aspect and content, but I couldn't give a valid opinion of how much this will affect them in that aspect, unfortunately. Back to my fence.
Zoe, did you have your second opinion on this?
I got bored of reading the dev blog, mate, so no.
Oh, you are an embarrassment and
Actually,
disappointment
I will
to
say one thing though.
yourself.
I've never received a letter that the person who's it's from has not read. So I'm very upset that Rock has not read his own dev blog. Because his name is on it.
Tisk.
I'm reading it
Going in
now.
on Rock.
Right at the bottom, from Rock. Doesn't even know what it says.
All right, so let's talk about the Q&A that they had, I think this week or the week before. Maybe Trickle did both weeks, but he at least did this recent one. So apparently one of the topics that was discussed was any plans to raise the requirement to the vote on polls. Something like increased total level, increased time played, or something to that effect. Apparently, one of the mods said that the requirements may be a little bit low right now. So, what do you think? What do you think about the voting on polls? Do you think that the total level requirement should be raised? Do you think that the requirement to vote should be tweaked at all? What's your opinion on that?
I think the limit was initially introduced to stop people from just making loads of accounts and voting, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't think it really needs to be raised anymore, because you just get into sort of a dangerous area where you start excluding people, and if you've played the game for a month or if you've played the game for 3 years, you still play the same game where you want the game to go. At the end of the day, the overall opinion is going to come out in the polls. Sometimes stuff gets through which we don't want. Well, that's just how it is, because more people want it than us, and at the end of the day, they have to focus on making sure the masses get what they want rather than the select few.
Democracy's a
You
farce.
just sort of get into, well, you get into the danger of limiting it to the point where you get the answer that you want. I just think it's a very dangerous area. I think it's fine as it is, where it just stops people from making loads of accounts to vote.
And that's not even really an issue. They said there's not really much an issue of that. That's very significant. And you got to remember that you got to be a member to vote. So, I mean, if a couple people want to throw in a couple extra votes, like just in case to make things hope they pass, all right, that's whatever. But yeah, I don't see there being too much an issue with the current state of like requirements or anything. But if anything, yeah, definitely, I don't care for it to be anything about total level, because there's always the possibility of limiting people based on their account type. So if anything that they're going to focus on for the metric to allow voting, I would think it should just be playtime, and maybe increase that by a tiny bit. Because right now I think it's like, is it 280 total or 350 total and 10 hours in game, I think. So if anything, just raise that 10 hours a little bit.
Yeah, I can make it like 1,000 hours playtime to vote. That'd be great.
Nah, not 1,000.
Oh my gosh.
If anything, my upper limit would be like 50 hours.
What are the current requirements to vote?
I think it's
I think it's
350
like
total.
350 and 10 hours.
I'm tired of the blatant elitism of the high-level players who think all these casual players aren't allowed to have a valid opinion. I don't think there should be a requirement to vote. If people feel strongly enough to make bot accounts, I don't bloody care.
Hey, that I can respect, dude. If I won the lottery, you best believe my ass would have like 10,000 accounts on the standby or ready to go, and I would just vote on stuff to be exactly how I wanted it to be.
If you want a system where everyone gets to have their say, then let's leave it as everyone gets to have their say.
Actually, yeah.
I'm glad I've convinced everyone we can move on.
No, because I got some stuff that I want to say. I think the fuck not. I don't have any issues with how the polling requirements are or anything. We've talked in the past about things that we'd like to see changed to the polls, and the number one thing that I've always talked about is that I think that you shouldn't be able to see the poll results while they're live. Like when you go in game and open up the poll, the first thing you see is the actual results. Like it doesn't even shit. It should at least force the first screen that you see to be what you're voting on, not the results for what you're going to vote. And I think it would be much better if results were just hidden until the end. People could say whatever they want. Like people can put on their little tin foil hat and have their little theories about shit. But I think that you would get more genuine voting on something like that. I have a lot of problems with the polling system in the first place. I've said before that like the polling system to me I think is just an illusion. But I would at least like to see, like they can keep the requirements how they are. I would just like to see it being changed to where you can't see the results while it's still going on.
I'd certainly skip a lot less if that was the case.
I cover the screen before I vote.
Yeah, I
That's
literally do that.
respectable. I'm
I
gonna
put
start
my
doing that.
hand over my screen.
I'm going to
And
start doing that.
Yeah.
Also, if anything, I would see. I'd like to see him up the percentage required to vote to pass.
What percent would you like to see? 80?
I mean, anything higher is better. 85.
I think 75 is fine.
I mean, it's pretty good, but like, I'd like to see it higher.
I wouldn't have a problem with it being raised. That's it. Go ahead,
There'd be a
Rob.
lot of dumb shit.
I think we get a lot of dumb shit passed where like the point of the poll system being at 75% is that the status quo is supposed to win. I don't think the status quo wins at all anymore. Like people just want change, and that's not what the game was supposed to be from the off. I think the poll system needs to be changed to reflect that new push.
But how so? Like, how would it be changed?
Up the passing requirement, up the percentage to like 80%, 85%. Things that were, if things now that are polled, if they were polled 4 years ago, would fail with flying colours. You know, they'd be impossible to get through. Like you see, every time something is polled again, it creeps up and up and up because the player base has changed essentially.
I'm sure you could look through the new stuff. I'm sure you could look through the polls and find things that didn't get to the percent that you want that you like in the game, though.
Yeah, of course I could. I mean, I'm not saying obviously it's a very selfish view to have. I'm just saying that it's very much changed from the start. So something like the Wilderness Ditch has been polled 3 or 4 times. Maybe not 4 times. Was it 4 times really?
4.
Yeah, but this time it's kind of
every time it gets
not
higher.
valid.
And just across the board, the average yes vote just gets higher on every poll, and it will do over time just because of the attitude
and
change.
Yeah, they forgot about abstain, so they have to redo it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the abstain thing was the thing, but yeah, I'd like to see that changed.
When it comes to the requirements that are there now, I'm kind of happy with them how they are, like the 75% pass, the 350 total, etc. The problem is that this is such a system that it's one of those things that you're never really going to have everyone happy with. So it's literally just going to case of flip flop around because everyone wants different things.
Yeah, I appreciate that, but the status quo should win, and that's what the original system was designed to do.
Well, in the case of that, it's the way that I see it is that if the majority of the people that want that content, it goes through.
Well, it's not a majority, even now, because it wasn't designed.
I think 75% counts as majority.
No. I'm saying the point of if you're going to say majority, that's 51%. It's specifically designed not to be just a majority.
Okay,
it's designed to be an overwhelming majority.
Okay, it's a super majority.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Technically, it's a super majority.
It is.
And when we refer to it as that, that's what we mean.
Yeah, but my point is that you just use the word majority as misleading because it's not designed to be we please the most people. It's designed to be something needs to have overwhelming support to get passed because the status quo needs to be respected.
I think 75% counts as significant.
Yeah. I get very upset, as you know, when things change. And
These
I don't think
very small changes.
I don't think it's okay for things to change when I like them.
I do see Zoid's point. Like if you look at polls over the last like going back from when the game, like if you look at polls from 2013 to what they are now, like it doesn't matter what the question is asking. If you just look at the pure percentage of like how often is stuff passing now compared to what it used to, you would have several things on every single poll that would fail, whereas right now you're actually shocked when something doesn't pass. Like I was shocked that the Wilderness Ditch failed for the 4th time. Yeah, it's failed a whole bunch, it's failed every other time it's ever been polled, but I was still shocked that it failed. Just because things that are polled now are voted yes at so much higher a percentage of what it was in the past. So like I do understand Zoid's point there.
But yeah, what I'm saying is that like I do agree with the fact that the results should be hidden. That is something that I do agree with, and when it came through, that's what I voted for. But as for like the requirements and stuff, I think it's fine.
All right. So apparently leading from that. Here, hold on. Can someone ask that? Zoid asked this one.
Do I get to ask a question?
Yeah, ask this one.
Well, there's one under Q&A.
Yeah, leading from this.
From what?
Oh, wait. Did I?
Oh, I see. All right. Everyone move your cursor, though I can't read it. Guys. RS3 something all to review. What does that say?
Yo, stop messing with it. Hold on.
RS3 has proposed player able to review in-game content after playing that content for a certain amount of time, usually 2-3 hours. How would you feel if something like this was adopted with the OSRST? This is just a beta testing.
Yeah, all right, we can skip that one. We already talked about the beta.
Yeah, we all know.
Yeah,
It's a great
that's
idea. Thank you, Zoid.
Yeah, no, it's just for in-game feedback.
Can I read this one?
Focusing on Reddit and
Yeah,
Twitter.
I'll let you read that one because your other one got spoiled.
Hashtag ditch the ditch failed for a 4th time. This is a stupid question. What side are you on? I'm going to expand the question because it's a stupid question. What do you guys think about this question being asked again, and just the fact that the same thing's being repolled multiple times within not that big of a time span?
I will say it's been a while since the last time it was.
How long
asked.
has it been?
Oh yeah.
It's probably
like
been a couple years since the last time it was asked.
That's kind of a while.
All right,
But
the first 2 or 3 times there was not much time that passed, so that I'm okay.
Yeah, back then it was excessive. Now I think it's fine. Anyways, yeah, I don't really care to keep it. I voted to remove it. But the issue with it being repolled and such is it's not being polled with an alternative. You shouldn't vote to remove it and then discuss what to do with it. Because that would also need to be voted on.
There was going to be like that transparent barrier.
Well, yeah, no. That was just an idea, but that wasn't in the question. Like, should it be removed and replaced with this? That wasn't in there. You need to do it all at once, and then sure, it'll probably do better if it's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really mind if it's repulled if it's something that I want, because I think the ditch is dumb and should be gone. But it probably shouldn't keep getting repulled.
Is this the last time it's been pulled?
Hope not.
Christ.
All right, Rock.
Ditch the ditch rears its head
Rock,
again.
where do you stand?
I'm fine with the ditch just staying how it is. That's what a lot of people are used to.
Hell yeah, status quo.
And yeah, I don't necessarily see the point of removing it, to be honest. But effectively, what my 10 cents is.
What's your opinion on things being repolled though, that have been polled before?
I think it entirely depends on the circumstances. In aspect of whether the player base has changed, the thoughts have changed, the thought process. Obviously, there was a point where skip question didn't exist.
Good point.
So when things were polled in that and there wasn't a skip question, would it be different? Hence why there was the nearly miss poll a while ago. I can't remember if that was
another one of them.
I don't know if that was. I cannot remember if that was the case because, like, the nearly miss poll came after the skip question stuff.
That sounds like it might be true, yeah.
But yeah, it is. I think depending on the circumstances, I don't have a problem with stuff being repolled.
Yeah. So not to put words in your mouth, but like, if there's a significant groundswell of like an opinion, we'll say, all right, let's discuss this, and then maybe have a poll about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally a case of, has the player base thought about it changed? If so, Okay. Do we want to know what player base thought is?
Yeah, okay.
And go for
I
it.
mean, that's fair. I think there's a very thin line though, and what it looked like from me, and I did complain most of the time, is that it looked like out of nowhere. I'm not going to use the name of the JMod to be respectful. Somebody tweeted out basically like something about the ditch, and that to me looks like it's something that they wanted to happen, and they're trying to rally support for it. I didn't see people asking this beforehand. I don't like that idea, but 2 years seems like a pretty reasonable gap to have another poll. But yeah, I think I keep wanting to raise the point of I don't like the idea of JMods rallying behind a cause.
I don't really have any say over that.
Of course,
So,
yeah.
It's at the end of the day, people are players with opinions as well. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that.
All right, so for me, I think that the repolling of things, from my opinion on them being repolled, it changes based on circumstances. I think that with the ditch, it's been polled 4 times and it hasn't been changed at all. Like the idea of like what you want from it has been the exact same every time. Like there are things that have been pulled. Like Artisan was pulled 3 times in like 3 months. More on Artisan later. But like with Artisan, they changed it every single time based on the feedback that they had received. And like when you're repolling things because of that, I think that it's totally fine. And yeah, at some point there's some limit where you have to say, all right, no matter how much we tweak this content, it's not going to pass. But when content is changed and then repolled based on the feedback that was obtained, I think that there's no issue with that. But with the ditch pulling in as many times as it has been, the question being the exact same thing, the solution being the same thing, and failing all the times, I think it's done. Like it doesn't need to be looked at again. If you go back to the podcast from 2014. By the way, our 3rd birthday is next podcast. Tune in for our birthday party.
I wasn't even a special birthday guest.
We can sing happy
Wow.
birthday.
we need Archie on here. It's his birthday too.
So,
Is it?
look, I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah. So I was I've always been for getting rid of the ditch. Matt K had one of the best ideas. That was the best idea Matt K has ever had when he brought up the idea, and I think it was almost in a like kind of a joking way, but something that I really, really fucking loved, and I thought it was brilliant off the top of his head. He talked about like the ditch could like as an idea that the ditch could be removed if the players put like 1,000,000 buckets of sand into it, something like that. That to me, like the idea of the community coming together for doing a thing like people, like a lot of people forget, including myself, is that this is a massive multiplayer online role-playing game, but so fucking much of it you don't really interact with players.
Hell yeah, good point.
And adding in something like this to where the community has to come together to do something that looks like it's a great idea. The community, like 5 million, 1 million, I don't know, X number of buckets of sand into the ditch and it fills up the ditch. Logically, it makes sense. And
I don't think X number.
All right,
but
well,
if 80% of players come and put a bucket of sand in the ditch, I'm fine with it being removed.
So can I stand on the ditch and try and dig out other people's buckets of sand?
Yeah,
I think
if we
that
have
yes.
if we have a tug of war over the ditch, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I think that would be a really like think of how much fun that would be like for the community. I feel like so much of like the updates that happen, like they're really cool for the game and everything and whatnot, but so much of it is just like intended for a player to do by themselves and not really interact with the community so much. We have game modes where you're supposed to play the MMORPG as a solo player. And ideas like this are the kind of really cool things that I think if this would have came up back in 2014, I think this probably would have passed because like it sort of has like that actual feel to it, like how the community was at that time, the feel for it. I really like the idea of it. I think it'd be fucking phenomenal. Repoll the ditch a 5th time, but this time Like, you know,
With an
okay,
event.
no poll. Just executive decision. If there are this many buckets of sand in the ditch, it will fill up. But you have the option to dig out the sand if you don't want it.
See, Rock said he made this as a joke. This is a great idea, Rock, mate. You need to own this.
It's a community-driven event.
This is happening.
The community-driven event, which
You heard it here
we
first.
really
on
are
the Hexis podcast.
we're really lacking on kind of community-involved events like that. So something
Put
like
those
that.
on
would
I
be
will
great.
play an alt. I will play an alt to keep the ditch.
Like, I'm laughing, but like I really love it as an idea, and I think that it would be a lot of fun for the community. Anyone
What are we talking
else? Well, yeah. Zoid or Arp? Go ahead, Arp.
I mean, I've got no real opinion on whether or not the ditch should stay. I think that sounds like a cool idea though, with the buckets of sand. I don't know how many people would actually do that though. I think
What's the point?
the alternative though is,
Well worth XP waste.
oh yeah, something Abra was saying earlier, that it shouldn't just be should it be removed. It should give alternatives. It's like, yes, the artist thing failed and they repolled it a couple times, but maybe if they had multiple outcomes on the same poll, should artisan be added if this? Should artisan be added if something else? You know, it doesn't have to be one question saying should the ditch be removed. It should say should the ditch be removed and this added instead, and have like 4 or 5 different options for what could replace it. Because there's no way to tell from a yes or no poll what people's reason for voting is. People might be voting no because they just want the ditch in regardless of what comes. But if you give people options, then you can quite easily see if people are voting no just because they don't want it, or voting no because they don't like what they think the outcome will be.
You do then get the problem then where we could have something pass which 30% of the player base actually want, and 70% vote for something else. So it sounds good in practice, but in principle, it's not that good in practice. I think maybe we could talk about something about like gathering feedback and then offering multiple polls, saying this. We'll poll maybe the one that came first. If it fails, poll the second one, maybe.
I think basically what he was thinking was like have some different options and they all be pulled at once, and the one that has the highest percent would pass. You can vote yes to multiple. Like, okay, this idea sounds good. This other one sounds good too. I'd be okay with either one.
Yeah, or if you just see a trend
Providing
of
that
everyone
they're over
voting
75%.
no to all the questions. Yeah. But if you see like a trend of everyone voting no, then you'll be able to tell that people just don't want it removed. Not the fact that they're scared of an alternative; they just don't want it.
I don't know. This seems a bit. I see what you're saying in the sense of like we want options first, but I'd rather have a yes or no. Do you want the ditch or not? Then we can talk about what to do next.
Community ditch.
I do want the ditch.
Community ditch event. Please.
So what we can do. We can pull a fast one, and the poll question can be: do you want to keep the ditch? And then it will easily pass yes because everything passes yes.
All right.
The old switch to room on that one.
Let's move it on to the next question. This was asked on the Q&A, and the question was, if you could remove anything currently in the game, what would it be? So let me give an update on what the mods on the Q&A said. Matt K said he wanted to remove NMZ. Ash said he wanted to remove Rat Catcher's Quest. Kind of mainly focus on like the rat pits. Kieran said tick manipulation, although I think his was kind of in like a good-hearted. That's not really based on his body language and everything. It didn't really seem like that was how he felt. I think that was just more so wanting to get a reaction. Ghost. Yeah, this is the one that we were talking about earlier, Zoid, where you went so far off. Ghost would just like to redo everything.
Well, why was it under the bloody gargoyle section? If it's about everything.
Hey man, talk to Trickle. It was Trickle's job.
Trick clearly meant it in the context of the gargoyles.
Trick put it in there.
Move on.
Alright, and Rai said NMZ. Maz said prayer flicking. So for you guys, what would be one piece of content you would remove? And if you want, take some time to elaborate on why. So, let me put on my hypocrite pants here real quick. I think that Nightmare Zone should be removed. When it came out, it was intended to be a mini game that was used to be, you know, relive your quest boss fights, and not the best and most AFK training method. And like even today, like yeah, they did make the 6-houring not a thing, but I mean we're very aware of how able we are to AFK for 20 minutes at a time. I think that it's just the most unbalanced piece of content that's been released. I think if the XP was halved, you know, you would get what you were actually after, which with the mini game, which is getting to fight against old quest bosses that you previously defeated, as opposed to being the most XP per hour and the most AFK. I think that Nightmare Zone is very broken. I say this, and I've done thousands of hours of it, either like while I was studying or while I wasn't even at the computer. Yeah, I did it a lot because I think that it's broken and it's very overpowered, and I think it is bad for the game. I don't really think that it ever at any point should have been the place to train your combat XP.
Oi.
Oh, sorry. I still have to think of some other stuff, but the only thing that I could think of pretty immediately was in Pyramid Plunder, the little hourglass above the timer bar. Get rid of that.
Can I have two?
Out of everything you could possibly remove, that's the one.
Hey. It's
Can
just
I
the
get
first thing I
two,
could think of.
Randy?
Yeah, you can get 2. Go ahead. You can have 3 if you're really feeling ambitious.
3! Oh, it's like Christmas. Right. So I would like to, first and foremost, this is the biggest problem. The Catacombs of Korend have absolutely ruined Slayer. It might be a symptom of the fact that melee XP is worthless, but you know, Nightmare Zone's a boring answer. So the Catacombs of Korend were kind of sold on the idea of a more casual, friendly thing because you know, Slayer was condensed in Neve's Cave at the time, and you know, the elite players, quote unquote, were pretty much dominating you know all the rooms in Neve's Cave. So casual players were, you know, given this nice place to go and kill stuff, and they'd get this benefit of the totems, which would give them some nice loot that you know elite players aren't going to care about. So you know that's the benefit. That's the incentive for them to go there. And you know, I remember watching John C. Showing us him tagging all the blood velds, then going to make a cup of tea. Why on earth the Catacombs?
Let me just pause you.
I will never know.
Let me pause you right there, because on that same stream, you best believe my ass was in there talking like, hey, you know, are we gonna be able to round these up and mage them? And he said, yeah, you know, that's definitely something that you guys could do.
Yeah,
So
and
it's not like that wasn't some completely foreign.
Yeah, sure,
idea.
I agree. I seem to remember at the time it being a concern. I don't know why it wasn't more of a concern though. But maybe it's because we still thought melee XP was worth something, and that's something that's changed. So again, that might be more of the core problem being Nightmare Zone. But yeah, what Slayer's become compared to what it started as is uncomparable. I think it's so ridiculous the way people slay now, especially with the use of ults and stuff like that. I just hate the Catacombs. I think it's so stupid. It completely defeated the purpose it was set out to do. It made it all worse, actually. Because now like, no casuals can go kill Necreals there, or Abbey Demons, or Dust Devils. So the second thing
there are
I
plenty of casuals killing Dust Devils.
Yeah, and you complain that they're all there.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not what it was designed for. Casuals. It wasn't designed for you to complain about them being there.
I'll find a way to complain about anything.
I know you'll find a way to complain. I'm saying the situation shouldn't be there in the first place where you're made to complain. You're only there because you have the incentive to be there because it's so overpowered. The second thing I'd want to remove is the 20-minute timer on combat. I don't see why it's there. The 5-minute timer we have for everything else is perfectly fine. It was basically, it seemed to be made as a compromise from the fact that, you know, we had the 6-hour Nightmare Zone, and that was obviously ridiculous. And they moved down to 20 minutes. I don't see why it wasn't just 5 minutes. It should be the same as everything else.
Yeah, because I mean, realistically, there's no boss fight or anything that you would ever be in that would last more than 5 minutes anyway.
Well,
so yeah.
Why would you not be interacting with the game for 5 minutes? If you're not interacting with the game for 5 minutes, the client decides, oh, he's probably AFK and logs you out. That's the point.
Yeah.
It's specifically designed in the case where we're letting people be AFK for 20 minutes, and I don't see why. Let's make people play the bloody game if they don't play the game. you say I get 3?
Yeah, I mean, if you got more, I'll let you keep going.
Just
I'm
keep going.
I'm gonna get my notepad out for this one. Let's remove the Grand Exchange because it removes a vital part of player interaction, and it's something that Randy brought up earlier, and I'm very glad to hear him support player interaction. So yeah, I mean, it's a problem because people can use alts. I mean, it all
That
ties
was a
together.
joke.
They all tie together, don't they, Randy? So let's remove alts while we're at it.
Yeah,
Then we're gonna have a pretty good game. It's almost like the game was pretty good 4 or so years ago. Remove the game. I mean, at this point, may as well.
All right, Arp, what about you?
I think everything I wanted to be removed has already been said. I suppose maybe remove black chins so I don't feel bad about doing red ones.
There we go. Good answer. All right, Rock, you've been you're almost max. You got a pretty well-rounded experience. What would be something you'd remove?
I don't know if he's coming back. You
You there, Mr. Rock?
Get
off your
Yeah.
fence. Oh, there he is. He's off his fence. Okay.
Yeah, I agree with Nightmare Zone, most definitely. I would honestly, controversially, agree with Zoid on the catacombs being destroyed and redistributed. The same which happened to Neve's dungeon. And another controversial one is the Expeditious and Bracelets of Slaughter.
Oh, that's a great point, Rock. I can't believe I missed them.
Yeah, I would remove those if I could. Like, obviously I can't, so I'm not going to. But yeah, they would that. I'm an advocate of Slayer how it used to be. And that's how I enjoyed it. And
Keep going, Rock.
I think I've just given Zoid an erection. This is awful.
I couldn't be more excited, Rock. You're wonderful.
But yeah, I'd say that's quite a controversial change. But you asked me what I wanted to remove, and if I could, I would do that.
I appreciate it. Like I'm sitting here. I was talking even earlier on this podcast saying like the bracelets don't really change anything about Slayer other than like getting your preferred tasks to be longer and your shit tasks to be shorter. And it like falls in that thing of like it's not really too balanced. I mean, and that's completely ignoring that they like one bracelet costs like 1k, 2k.
I thought of a fourth.
Yeah. What is
Remove the Slayer bonus XP from killing the bloody big ones. What are they called? The superiors.
Well,
Why? It was a straight 10% buff to Slayer.
What's the point of them then?
For extra loot. That was the point. They were proposed as like, oh, let's get some cool loot while we're slaying. That's what everyone wanted. And then at the end, they just slapped this 10% XP on. Why? It just buffed Slayer by 10% and changed nothing. It's exactly what you should be against.
I wouldn't remove it though.
That's because you still got Slayer to do.
Aubrey, what about you?
The superiors are fine. It's just why have they got the XP buff? There's no reason. Go on, Obs.
Well, let's see. I would remove.
Let's see.
Nightmare Zone.
Like I feel like he was probably looking at a list of shit that he had.
Oh yeah.
all right.
Nightmare
Sorry.
Zone, Zaya, rooftops, redwoods. Well, I guess I can be specific about
Redwoods
Zaya.
is a pretty good one. I do like that as a
Souls. Let's see. Get rid of Fuck, there's something else I was. Yeah, catacombs aren't really good in my opinion. They didn't really have a good effect on Slayer. Else. There's lots
Knights.
of Motherlode. That's
Ardy
Motherlode.
Knights.
Yeah, and Ardy Knights definitely.
If we can cut and paste, if we can cut out Volcanic Mine and then delete the rest of Zaya, I'd be pretty happy. I can't think of anything else redeeming there.
But the Volcanic Mine wasn't on Zaya.
I know, yeah, no, sorry, what did I say? I meant Blast Mine. Yeah, sorry, you're right. I said the wrong thing. Cut Blast Mine out of Zaya.
I'd keep
Raids? Yeah, raids are fine, actually, to be fair. But, yeah. There's lots of things we'd remove, eh? It's a great question. I could do a whole podcast on things we could remove.
Oh, maybe we'll have a special one dedicated to this question another day.
And Jebrim can host it.
Jibrim.
All right.
Oh, did I say it wrong?
You know what? I'll ask the same question. Kind of. We'll just use the same order that we have for this question. Then, if you could add or change, not just remove, but just change or add something into the game, what would it be? Me, it would probably be Catacombs revamp. It's really crowded. I gotta hop a lot of times at Dust Devils. I don't like that Abyssal Demons teleport around. They teleport around. They teleport you. They're packed as shit. Add maybe a few rooms of those. One thing that I will say though that like in a more serious light is that I would like to see there to be some Slayer tasks that are worth doing. Like statistically worth doing that are focused on range. All of Slayer is melee and mage, and the only range XP you get is from your cannon. Obviously, yes, I'm referring to like efficient Slayer, but I'd like to see a little bit more variation with something like that. Efficient task coming out to where range. I don't know.
The only thing I can think of right now is hardcore ultimates. That'd be pretty okay. More on the lines of how ultimates was, I think, designed to work, not to have extra inventories at Zulrah and in a looting bag and such. Require more planning and such. I'd like that.
I want an offhand crab claw. I want a clan system.
Oh yes, I also
Oh,
want a clan
yes.
system.
Yeah, see, everyone always pipes up on the clan system. There's not much else I want in this game except for people to start playing the game without alts.
I think tick manipulation should be changed. I don't think it should be removed. I think it should be changed. I think there should be ways added to the game can emulate the what you would usually do with tick manipulation, but make it make sense to certain skills. Like I can't really think of an example, but something with wood cutting, instead of using herb and tar, just got something that makes
just more
sense
interaction.
Yeah, something that makes sense to boost your XP rates, not just the fact that you are clicking a herb and tar to make it go faster. Obviously, that's a huge project though, so
I'd be wary that they'd fuck it all up.
I really like how tick manipulation
I feel like it'd be too simple.
is right. Like it was a happy accident, and it's very balanced.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's very balanced in the whole more effort, more reward.
It's something that almost couldn't have been designed.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
It's exactly. It's that perfect.
And it fits with the RuneScape because it's so stupid it doesn't make sense, and it's exactly what RuneScape should be. Happy accidents are brilliant. There's probably more.
And yeah, it's actually funny that Kieran said that, but yeah, obviously it was a joke because he kind of praised the discovery of two techniques
just
for
teasing
the
the
one
thing.
blank up.
What would you add, Rock?
I'm very much a champion of a clan system and would love one.
Hell yeah.
Keep fighting the good fight for us.
Carry the torch, Rock. With the flame of Hexis.
I don't think I'd go that far, but I want the clan system.
Hey, Rock, you going to buy a
He needs
Hexis
the
shirt,
shirt.
mate?
No, you don't even have to buy it. Give it.
we will
Rock, we'll buy you one.
We will buy you a
We'll hook
shirt.
you up. I'll deliver it to you, Rock. Where do you live?
Reported.
It's one for the notepad.
Nah, but we are going to send you one, Rock, mate. It's going to go to the office, addressed to Rock.
We're gonna send them to our favorites.
Oh yeah. So
got-
not Rock then.
We got a couple in mind, although they are kind of expensive. So
Are
if
they?
anyone in Hexis wants to donate to the cause,
Stop this, Randy. Stop it now. He was, Rock, you unbelievable. He was selling smiley spots the other day. He's unbelievable.
Everything's negotiable. All right. I'm skipping that next question. So
You can't make these decisions unilaterally.
for those of you who first turned on this video, the first thing that is mentioned at the beginning of the podcast is I'm Randalicious and I'm the leader of Hexis.
Okay, that's a fair point. I mean, we all can.
All right.
I'm gonna keep voicing my disdain though.
All right, so it's been 3 years since we last heard of Artisan, and it was something that was kind of talked about on the Q&A a little bit. And 2 years since we last heard of Sailing. And
Hang on, you missed Aubrey. He didn't say we'd add, did he?
Oh,
Somebody's saying he didn't.
sorry.
What would you add, Aubrey?
Yeah, it's clan system. Can't really think of much else.
I'm glad we went back for Aubrey.
Well said.
Yeah, me
Poor
too.
Aubrey.
All right, so
right, go on.
with a little bit less enthusiasm, so looking at Artisan and Sailing, it's been 3 years since one and 2 years since the other. I know that some of the rewards from Sailing were eventually introduced in different ways, but the topic of a new skill has been straw polled on some of the Q&As, like yes, we want a new skill, or yes, we'd like a new skill, but not any time within the next year or two. So, how has your opinion or stance changed toward Artisan and Sailing, or even a new skill in general? Which, in your opinion, would be the best mechanically and chronologically fit better into old school? For me, like my stance really hasn't changed too much. I mean, sure, maybe a skill one day, but for me, I wouldn't want to see a new skill anytime within the next 2 years, even. I feel like Artisan may have been on the final poll of Artisan, I did end up voting yes. And I think that the game was the game has evolved so much over the last 3 years. I think the game was in a place where Artisan could have fit in at that time. I don't really feel that way anymore. So with Artisan, I'm gonna go no. Sailing, I wasn't really that big of a fan of when it was proposed or anything, but maybe a skill, but it would have to be the right skill, and it would also have to be years from now. I think that Ghost made a really good point on the Q&A, is that I'd much rather see current skills and stuff that's already in the game more fleshed out and designed better, rather than just adding a whole new skill in itself.
I mean, yeah, I generally don't care for a new skill at all at this moment in time. If the right idea comes along later, then sure, why not? But for now, I couldn't give a flying.
Aubrey can't catch a break, man. He was skipped over again. Poor Aubrey, honestly. Go on, Aubrey.
Yeah, I don't really want a new skill. I have played this game for a long time, and I've never been able to think of any other skill idea that sounds like it belongs in the game as much as the other skills do. And I feel like anything will just be kind of a stretch. Yeah. I just don't think it's really needed.
Yeah, Rock, are you just saying you don't want a new skill because you're about to max?
Yeah.
I've been rumbled. No, I genuinely don't care for a new skill.
I think 23 is a pretty cool number. It's a prime number. I would not like to see the number changed.
Oh yeah, that's why.
Oh yeah, if 24, what an ugly number.
You want to know what's funnier than 24?
What's that?
Let me hear it.
25.
Don't you dare!
25!
Don't you dare! I don't know what 25 is actually.
Yeah. No,
God bless.
I think. Yeah, I think originally,
America.
yeah, I really didn't care for it, but now that I've been maxed a while, I don't really
But
care.
why
I
maxed?
wouldn't mind getting another skill up if it was a good one. That is, yeah. But there's stuff that's being worked on right now, and they could definitely flesh out a couple skills a little bit more, like smithing something to actually do, not just like spam one thing out, or I don't know. Hunter at the upper levels. But yeah, at some point, they both sailing how it was pulled by the team. I didn't care for the rework of it that Gentle Tractor did. I enjoyed that, and I would have been pretty fine with that. But yeah, I think Artisan could be works to, if the rewards were improved, for a reason for it to be there besides just being another skill. I think that would probably actually be preferable.
I just think that the game is kind of
But yeah,
evolved.
still not for another like 2-3 years at least.
I just think the game has evolved too much within the last 3 years for Artisan to be something that would work. I think that Artisan may like have potential of passing a poll a little bit more so than sailing, but I don't know. I just don't think it would fit. Like back in 2014, like this was like mid 2014, so the game had barely been out a year. there wasn't a whole hell of a lot of progress made on accounts all throughout the entire game and whatnot. So like the idea of having a skilling version of Slayer still had potential, I felt like, to fit into the game, but with just how the game's progressed and how the players have progressed their accounts, it just wouldn't really fit into the game too well.
Well, we're still a good year out from anyone finishing the game. I think we're alright.
I think it was like early 2019-ish is when Lynx should finish.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe this Track the Lad that everyone loves will come up with something one day we all like, but until then I'm fine with, whatever. Just drop it.
I don't really want Artisan, and not a big fan of sailing either, but I think that they were going in the right direction with sailing. I think it should involve other skills because they were interested in making it involve construction to actually make the ships. Other than that, I think it's important that if we do get a skill in the future, it shouldn't be a mini game, and it should definitely involve other skills. It should feel natural to have it rather than just something extra you go for.
What are some of these skills from RS like? What is that new skill that was added to RS3 that like is supposed to
Invention?
Yeah, like what is I know I've asked about it before on podcast, but I really don't know about it too. Like is it like a sink for money or something like that? That's what it's supposed to be or some shit?
Well, more of an
Sink
item
for supplies.
But, yeah.
Was that more so introduced because
It's
of
kind
the
of an
economy
add-on
of that
skill.
game?
It's kind of an add-on skill to seep supplies out of the market.
It's made like really rare clue scroll. Really common clue scroll items worth money again.
Yeah,
It's kind of like
components.
It's kind of like the approach they did with summoning, where like items that were worth absolutely nothing became incredibly useful. It makes for a massive market imbalance very quickly. It's not something I'd like to see happen.
I guess that was something I wasn't even thinking about at all when like the idea of a new skill. Yeah, a massive market.
We already have huge problems when anything is even talked about on a Q&A. The G goes mad. A skill that's going to be a market-based skill, I would absolutely not like to see.
Flipping.
Although I will say, if we ever do get one, I feel like if anything, it should be like somewhat sooner, so that it can actually be worked into the rest of the game. Like it wouldn't have any quests with it, or if it did, it'd have one that came with it. You got to actually integrate it.
I do think you make a good point because I think the more the game progresses, the more difficult it would be to add in a quality skill. I think that's a really good point to make there. All right, something else that was talked about on the Q&A. So Old School will be 5 years old in 4 months. And a few of us did start playing back when it did first came out. So what do you think about the idea of having a 5-year cape added into the game? Would this be something you would like to see? Because for me, I'd like to see it. I started playing the first month. I don't know if it was the first day or anything like that, but something to show that I've been here since the beginning, and it's not like I know we kind of talked about this a little bit with the holiday items, but this is a little bit different. But I like to see the 5-year capes. It just make like a Legends cape and slap a number 5 on it, and then you're done. Yeah, I'd like to see it. I mean, just something cosmetic, no bonuses or anything like that. Give a let the players that have been playing this game since its release, and I mean over time, it's different, but for those of us that started playing on release, it'd be a very nice tribute to us.
When it comes to the 5-year cape, I don't have a problem with it at all. Generally, I'm pretty much against stuff that's cosmetic. If it doesn't have a use, why bother with it? But yeah, with a 5-year cape, it is kind of a cool thing to say, hey, look, I've been playing for this long. Congratulations. So, I'd like to see one, I think.
I think it's also scary at the same time, like 5 fucking years coming up. Jeez.
Yeah. Those 5 years have passed way too quickly.
It scares me when I realize I've been on the team for 18 months.
Yeah. It's time flies, man.
Yeah, I think it'll be alright. I don't really care that much, but
after the courtesy I showed you, Aubrey, I can't believe you've done this to me.
I can't believe you've done this.
I can't believe it, Aubrey. I'm gonna assertively take my spot. I don't like that. I don't like this kind of showmanship that goes on in RuneScape a lot of the time. I'd much rather skill capes didn't exist in their entirety. I think particularly people like Randy don't need their egos stroked to say, oh, I've played the game for 5 years. I would not like to see a 5-year cape. I think we can have an event, though, with a long table full of food.
Can you think of any other reason other than the fact that I want it?
It's not you, Randy. I mean, yeah, it's definitely a motivator. But if you were a non-factor, I still wouldn't want it. You're just a good example of the kind of showmanship. I
like
don't think
my ass has been paying these boys for 5 years. The least you can do is
And you've enjoyed the satisfaction of playing this game. You don't need everyone else to be like, oh, look at him.
I think you're taking that way too seriously.
I don't know. Adds into this whole thing of like playing for somebody else. Just play the game because you like it.
All right, Aubrey, as you were rudely cut off, what were you saying?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't really feel that strongly about it, but I would get it and maybe wear it. Came out, but I don't know.
I think it's the idea that you're never going to be able to change when you started playing. So some people are never going to get the cape. I mean, unless old school stays open that long. If it came out, I wouldn't wear it.
It'd be a nice cosmetic thing, having a bank. I like it. Make it happen.
Yeah, I'm not way too enthusiastic, but yeah, it'd be kind of nifty.
Alright, besides like content suggested through Reddit and all of the like essentially player design content that's flown through Reddit, there hasn't really been an official player designed competition in years. The last one was Artisan, if I remember correctly. So is there any focus you would like to see around like player design content? Would it be something you'd like to see officially done more often in the future? Like we got the farming guild that's coming, that's essentially player design content, but would you like to see like an open player designed official content that we used to have back in 2013 and 2014? Like things that they could design, example like a new quest, an area, new boss, new scaling method, whatnot. Something other than stuff that flows through Reddit.
I'd definitely love to see a player design content. For me, probably more in term of a quest or something like that. Because I reckon there's probably some really good storytellers in the community that don't really, like, you don't see them. Maybe they're on the role-playing worlds, who knows? But yeah, no, I'd love to see some more. I mean, we got rooftops out of it as well.
You play on the role-playing worlds, Rock. I see you here all the time.
I was doing that so I could just annoy you on agility. That was all.
Oh, okay. But I liked having you here. So you failed to annoy me.
Can we not go back to that, please?
You're gonna miss it. Like I I actually was bashing agility for like 3 years after I maxed, and then like I never did it either. But then for whatever reason, I started doing it earlier this year, and it's like, holy crap, what was I missing over these last few years? You'll miss it.
I hope not.
Yeah, I think pretty much anything, as long as it's good enough, would be nice. But I guess more so what I was going for with this question was like which category specifically, and I think probably just like things to fill gaps would be something I would like. But how the competitions work is that only one goes in though, so I'm not sure if that could work unless it's just for one specific method. So I don't know if they would just like pick, hey, we see there's a gap in this skill. Can you guys all think of something? I'm not exactly sure. But regardless, yeah, we definitely need more of these.
But just to add in onto that, that's how we like the player suggestion where it comes to construction contracts, where you build specific houses.
Yeah,
was a
that's a grand thing.
I think it's good to have player design content. I mean, a lot of the time it's stuff gets created and then we can either say yes or no. But if it's something created by the community, voted for by the community, I think it's going to be a lot easier to get stuff in the game that is wanted first time round rather than having to keep adjusting it.
Yeah, and you know, sometimes players have voted no to it, you know, like Artisan, for example. As a perfect execution of player design content, and the community liked it, but they didn't love it. And I have no idea where I am in the order, so I'm just gonna start talking. I think that there needs to be a lot more player design. Sorry, there needs to be a lot more player design. There needs to be a lot more player design content. I felt like early on in the game, this is kind of what actually. You know, I talk about a lot of time that like I think that like this shit is an illusion that we control the game and whatnot, and but it didn't used to be like that. You know, back when there were really big and official player design content things, those I think were some of the driving forces behind the original selling point of old school. You know, hey, this is an old school version of the game that's everything is voted on the players and whatnot. Like the players control every aspect of the game. So more player design content. Like it's also cheap. Like I'm sorry, it is free labor. You get a whole bunch of like old school team can only have so many people on the team. Like there are so many brilliant minds out there that they just play the game for fun and like they could think of excellent things to add into the game. You know, I'd like to see stuff other than a generic suggestion on Reddit with a yellow RuneScape font used to describe everything that's going on. You know, like
on a black background.
Yeah, like an actual official player design content where it kind of moves back towards that whole the players are in full control of the game. There's a lot of really good things that could be accomplished with this, and it brings the community more together. You know, this kind of goes back onto what I was saying before with like community events with the ditch. You know, more community driven things like that. I want to see it. Sorry, Aubrey.
I don't mind seeing player design content if it's good, but in the past, Motherload and Rooftops both came from player design content, and those were not good. But I feel like the fact that, or the reasons that they weren't good were more because of how like specific implementation details than of the ideas from the players. So Yeah, I mean, in general, I'd like to see more PAC.
Yeah, as a a community-driven game, I'd like to see maybe even once a year we can just say, all right, lads, let's hold the annual design some content thing. And I know Abra said something about maybe JMods can decide where there's a gap in a skill or whatever. I don't think they need to do it whatsoever. I don't think JMods need to have any involvement in it at all. I think we can just say every year, okay, design your content, lads, go do what you like, and Tractor Lad and whoever else wants to compete can make their posts, make their case for what they think will be some good content, and we, the community, can push what we want and eventually have some votes on it.
For the people, by the people.
For the people, by the people. And I agree with what Aubrey said. I mean, I don't expect it to be content I'm going to like, but to be fair, I don't like most content, so I'd rather at least the community makes it than a JMod makes it, then we vote on it. I think it's much better to start with players.
Okay.
Alright, so anyways, before we get to these last things, if anyone has any questions, chuck them into the chat while
I have
we're
a question.
I'll
I have a question, Abra.
Alright.
How come you host a podcast this much?
I was working weekends before, and now I'm done with that. Gonna be looking for something else, but right now I have weekends open again, so yeah.
I feel like you were answering a question I didn't ask. All right, go on.
Oh wait, wait, hold on. Wait, what was the question that you asked?
I asked why you're hosting the
was.
podcast so much.
Hey, some delegation is nice.
We can bloody move on.
I may not be around one day. I just want to make sure people are trained.
Yeah, you won't let me host a podcast.
You know what? I'll let you host the next one if you want to put everything together.
Hell yeah! Oh well.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Zoid, if I put things in, I'd like to read them out. That's
yeah,
pretty much
fair.
like,
I mean,
all right, every single question that Abra has asked and had control over, he put in and went and took the extra effort of improving it. Not the hey Zoid, I need a little bit of help with the format. Do you think you can help? Oh yeah, sure I can. Zoidberg says in CC. Anyone want to do some work?
For gen points. Always got to include for gen points.
All right.
That's what it's all about. Delegation.
But it's not delegation if you are being delegated the delegation.
Yeah, it's a 2-layer delegation.
Fuck off.
You can fix this by stop asking me to do things. And we won't have this problem, will we, Randy? You can cut the middleman and ask in CC anyone want to do some gen stuff. Because you can bet I don't want to do it.
Sounds like what I might need is a different gen.
Oh no!
Oh boy.
Alright, so that's pretty much gonna cover it with the RuneScape topics we have. We haven't mentioned it at all, but there's been an Anku dancing, getting it at the top right of the stream, as well as a weird headed looking skeleton on the top left also getting it. Halloween themed. The last one we had some spooky pumpkins and other things going on. It was very Halloween themed. This one is a little bit more subtle. So we're gonna talk a little bit off topic here. So we're gonna jump in. It's Halloween. Any of you guys have any plans for this Halloween besides staying in and playing RuneScape?
What day will it be on? Tuesday?
Well, shit. I mean, a lot of people are celebrating it tonight, tomorrow, like this weekend, but
Tuesday.
the actual Halloween is on Tuesday.
Well,
so, I guess
I respect it's on the 31st. I mean, what spooky crap can I do? I don't like spooky crap. I'm gonna do nothing. I'm gonna do what I usually do. I shouldn't have answered the question.
Well, obviously I'm going to be at work, but
you guys having a work party?
I don't actually know. But what I might do is I might spend a little bit of time jumping game and spawn some Halloween stuff for the players. It's always fun.
Some nice 2K pumpkins.
Yeah, whatever holiday items are set up, so I could do something like that, involve the community. But I'll probably be sitting there wishing I was back trying to make.
Hang on. Can we clarify something? You remember that spooky thing that happened last week where the ghost popped up on screen?
Yeah.
Can we get a promise that's not going to happen again? Because I was very spooked.
Yeah, Did you guys get any complaints on a hardcore Iron Man dying because of that?
Nope.
Oh,
Mm.
lucky.
Oh, I'm actually surprised.
I complained.
You
I
complain
complain
about everything.
It freaked me out. I was on 4 accounts at the same time. Do you know how much I was freaking out when I saw 4 fucking
No, the
skulls?
quad spook. Unbelievable.
I got the double spook.
Dude, I
got the one spook and I'm proud.
I wasn't even logged in. Rip.
Oh, what you doing, Rock, mate? It was at prime time on a Friday night. When all the boys are playing RuneScape and you're missing out on Rooney with the boys.
The quad spook was bad. But for Halloween, I'm going to probably. I think I might pass out a little bit of candy. You know, I'll run some roofs and just sit on my porch,
Christ.
hand out some candy, probably laugh at some good costumes, laugh at some bad ones. It's a great it is a great people watching event. It
I forgot
really
all
is.
about
You're at
that.
the phone zone.
I hope to God no one knocks on my door because I only have vegetables. I'm not gonna be happy.
Yeah, I ate
You can
half of my
throw
Halloween
broccoli
candy.
at him.
No, I need to eat that broccoli, man. I've got some onions. They can have them.
I had a whole bunch of these Kit Kat snack size bites, and I fucking ate every single one of them.
Yeah, you see, I couldn't buy Halloween sweets because I just eat them. I don't want to do that. I might just ignore my door. I'll pop a sign. I'm gonna make a sign. Be right back.
Yeah, it'd be proper effort, but at some point I want to use edible paint and paint cherries to eyes and give those out.
Oof, that's a
Nifty.
lot of effort.
No, but I know. Yeah, I know. But no, I'm not really gonna be doing anything. I 2 years ago I went to a party, although I didn't even dress up. But no, I'm not doing anything.
Yeah, not doing
Did
anything.
Aubrey get jumped again? What's the count?
We're just kind of going free at this endpoint.
It seems like if you're after Aubrey, you're before Aubrey. What'd you say you were up to, Aubrey?
Work, and probably not RuneScape, but probably not anything else interesting.
Not a damn thing.
You should have sit in your room, mate.
I've been playing piano a bit more.
Oh yeah. You gonna go on, mate? You can't just say that.
Piano
What do you do?
stream.
Piano's a tune. What's the verb for pianoing? Plays a tune.
I learned how to play the piano when I did fletching.
Oh yeah.
It's helpful with your typing and keyboard
I'm sure it is.
skills.
Alright, so with Halloween, we all at some point at least dressed up once. So tell us about some things that you guys used to dress. Tell us about some couple costumes that you dressed up as when you were in your younger days.
I never did dress up. For
Oh!
Halloween.
What a
Rock.
sad. It sounds like a depressing childhood, man.
No, I'm just not a fan of dressing up entirely, so I don't bother.
But even as a kid, Rock.
No,
Your parents
I didn't.
Your parents didn't at least force you to dress up once.
No,
Oh,
Rock. I
Yeah.
feel bad for you, Rock.
yeah, I do
No.
too.
I feel good
Oh.
about it. It's like I've
No,
never had my
Rock.
face painted either.
Oh, it's so sad, though, Rock. I feel like you missed out. Rock,
I
come on.
don't.
Mate, we'll go out for Halloween. You can experience what you missed as a child.
That sounds weird.
Arp can come
Yeah.
too.
I'm
Yeah,
okay,
thank
thanks.
You guys are gonna have to accept one of my invites.
Gotta keep taking a shot.
Oh,
Well,
Go ahead.
one year I dressed up as a person carrying their head, so I just had I forget how it even worked, but basically just had something that made it so I could put a coat or whatever on that was sitting way above my head, and then my head
Yeah.
looked like it was in my hands, and it was pretty cool. I wish I had pictures though.
Alright,
Randy, it's time.
I dress up annually. It's a great day. A lot of fun. Last year I dressed up as a cop. It was kind of like a joke on a whatever. But when I was younger, I was a pumpkin one year. And it worked kind of well, with the orange hair and whatnot. So it was kind of cool. I was a bee one year. I was a pirate
There
another.
you go.
I was a Jedi one year. I was Darth Vader the next.
Oh, that's controversial.
I'm a little disappointed about it. I thought there was a big old B story.
There probably
Not
was.
just, I was a B, by the way.
And I know that Trickle, like, there's a picture out there. I'm
Oh,
sure
I guess
Trickle.
he's seen the picture.
Yeah, Trickle's
it looked like
seen.
someone
No,
was
I
very
haven't.
Trickle
excited
has
about the
seen the picture of me as a bee when I was a little kid.
Sounds fun. Did you have a stinger?
Did I say? You know what? I don't know. I was a baby. Did I
Oh.
say I was a pirate one year?
Yeah, you did.
Don't know what I was like. Oh, I was Superman one year. Captain America another. I'm pretty unloyal.
Hmm.
Pretty unscary as well, by the sounds of the costumes.
Yeah, you guys don't do spooky costumes.
When I was a pirate, I was kind of spooky.
Why?
I don't know, man. I just was. I'm sure I have a picture
Uh.
somewhere around there. I was pretty spooky with my sword and whatnot.
I couldn't carry a sword in the UK, mate. Need a license.
What about you, Abra? Tell us about your childhood.
I never
Halloween.
really dressed up like way too much. I mean, I can remember maybe a couple things. The best and cutest one I remember is from Pokemon, the little Meryl, that thing, the blue thing. I had one of them. That was cute. And then I think maybe like a knight one year, and I don't know, some other stuff.
So nothing
I
spooky.
think maybe a wizard. Yeah, no, not. I think something like almost maybe spoopy once, but not like. I kind of just like stopped dressing up like when I was like 10 or something, or like 11.
Yeah, it's kind of same for me. I remember. I mean, the only costume I remember, I also stopped when I was like 10, 11. I had like a scream mask thing, and just like some kind of robe or something to have as well. I wore that like 3 or 4 years in a row. That's all I've got. I wasn't a very creative child. I don't think I even cared about Halloween. It's just like we'd always go out as a family because I have a little brother and sister, so
Love
kinda just got
getting that.
forced into
Love
it.
getting that candy.
I don't really like sweet stuff that much. So
But it's free, dude. You know how
they used
much?
to dress up the dog. Oh, it's unbelievable. Dressed up the dog. I was against that from the start. He looked ridiculous.
Dude, a lot of fun. You know, you get like a empty pillow sack and just
Fill it with soap, beat people up.
well, no, but
No.
run around from
Boring.
house to house. Like, you know, people on my block, they'd be walking from house to house. I'd be sprinting from house to house. Let's see. All right. So, like, last question we got then is, you know, what have you
did
guys?
delete one.
What have you guys been up to during the podcast? What have you been training, and what are your current goals in game?
So yeah, I've been running around catching the herbivore. I'm currently working on Hunter as my next 99. And the only goal I have in game at the moment is to finally decide to max at some point.
Have any time in mind on when you think you may get that? Going about it as you can.
Hopefully 2018? Question mark. But when I max, I'd like to try and make a community event out of it. You know, like JMod maxing and all that rubbish.
Can we
So,
come?
well, that depends if I invite you.
Well, the community is allowed to come, but I have to be invited.
Yeah, otherwise you're not allowed.
Well,
Yeah, I kind of, when I eventually want to max, I want to turn it into a community-based thing. So
I didn't get a community-based maxing party.
I did. I
You,
was one of the first people, so mine was a pretty big community event.
Hey, Rock, you gonna join any skilling clan?
what with my 13-hour weeks?
Rock has to be invited to the skilling clan.
Yeah.
No, I'm just doing it as I go. I'm not like trying to maximize my efficiency or whatever because I can't actually afford all my buyables.
Sounds
So-
like rank 2 EHP.
Rough times.
Don't use ults, mate, Rock. Just enjoy it.
I know I am. I'm doing the skills first before I
Oh, yeah.
switch
Good
to
stuff.
bossing. But yeah, that's pretty much it, really. max.
Do you have any plans after max?
Hopefully not burn out.
Randy, go on.
No, I'll probably start working towards getting like max PVM gear and go for pets and eventually try and nab the Inferno Cape.
I hope Randy's interested in what I'm doing. I've got like 4 follow-up questions.
Well, I know your ass is running roofs, so I don't really have that many follow-ups.
Well, you don't know anything. You don't know what I'm doing.
All right, now Aubrey, I hadn't seen him in the CC. I am very
What are you
interested.
doing,
in knowing,
Aubrey?
I am very interested to know what he's been doing.
Well, I did one tick ROMs for a little while, just to see how they are now. Oh, they're alright. Been playing my free to play. I just fucking around a little bit. Decided to go mine some rune ore, like a rune axe. I'm about to do some wood cutting, but I don't have any goals, and I'm not really playing anymore. I'm not sure if I'll be back or not, but finding more interest in other things nowadays.
You got if you're gonna burn out, you gotta burn out like Sins.
What, like do redwoods?
Yeah, AFK.
Nah.
As long as you are
Don't
crawling
do that,
forward,
Aubrey.
you're making progress. It is the most respectable way to burn out.
No, I
I'd
did it,
rather
and it
either-
just isn't respectable.
I'd rather play or not play and just not be somewhere in between. Like, if I'm not motivated to play the game, I'm not just gonna like have it be some annoying thing that I feel like I have to do on the side. I'm going to give my full attention to whatever I'm currently interested in.
Good point, yeah.
I have been running around Ardy, and it's crap. I don't know if I have any goals. I might just continue to do this until I decide it's too crap to continue.
All right, Zoid, how many marks of grace do you have on the ground?
How long have we been in this? Like 3 hours? I don't know. Actually, I think I'd guess about 70 odd. Why?
Oh.
I'm
I'm sorry. I just wanted to ask a follow-up question. Is all, I guess.
Oh yeah, sorry. No. Ask away. I love to talk about what I'm doing. It's great. It's really interesting.
That's all I have for you.
I'm gonna pick him up now. We'll find out. Drum roll. I was 66. I was so close.
Could have been 73.
Oh, you don't get that kind of excitement every day.
All right, Arp, what's going on?
Lately, I've been doing a lot of soul runes. Trying to go for 99 mining at the moment.
What else is new art, mate?
Should finish at about 140 mil rune crafting. Then I'll move on to mining to get 99 smithing passively.
Is that what you've been doing? I thought you were doing it because you're lazy. That's an interesting goal, Op.
Thank
Well
you.
done.
Newfound respect for him, I guess. I've just been slaying. Skipped Dust Devil task because I thought that I'd get too upset during it. Just been on the grind, been slaying. Hit 75 mil Slayer yesterday. I'm gonna be getting 200 mil hit points within the next 2 or 3 weeks. I've finally, after a lot of work, been able to surpass my agility XP with my Slayer XP. Gonna hit 73,737,373 agility XP sometime within the next week. Be on the lookout on Twitter.
Yeah, so just to make it real simple to keep up with anything, just Nightmare Zone on on the main, and then just some AFK whatever skills on the alts to I'm getting my total up because I want 1750 total worlds for when I get to Slayer. But yes, as soon as we wrap this up, I'm gonna go back to rune crafting, the old double deaths.
All right. All right, last question then. And first, Rock, thank you for coming on. It was a real pleasure to have you. What did you think about being on the podcast? Be brutally honest if you hated it. What did you think?
It was the worst damn experience of my life. I could see all my adoring fans in the chat. There was 0 of them, so that's always good to see. Yeah, I had fun. From my perspective, it is a little bit awkward, obviously, because being in my position, and I understand that people don't necessarily like when people talk can sit on the fence about things, but my position kind of puts me into that. So yeah, I would do it again some other time, but perhaps a little bit more time organising the questions, perhaps. So they're a little bit more friendly in my aspect, but
Christ, that was a bit underhanded.
All right, so be on the lookout. Be on the lookout for Rock.
I was trying to help with that.
On whenever it is, be on the lookout for Rock to be on the next Face Cam podcast, where everyone on the podcast is wearing a Hexis shirt.
I'll be playing the odd one out then, won't I?
You'll be getting one, don't you worry.
No, it has been a good experience because podcasting is something a few of us have spoken about in the office that we'd think about doing. So
no, you can't take our idea, Rob.
It's not an idea; it's just a format.
No,
it's definitely like a cool thing to understand, to be on them and then take that forward, obviously. So.
Seriously though, I joke a lot, but I do really appreciate you being on and just being out, like being active with the community and engaging with it. We can't tell you guys, all the mods in general, just how much we appreciate being able to talk with you guys and whatnot, and having the privilege to have you on has been great.
In that case, if you want to appreciate it more, go to twitch.com/uselessrock.
Hey,
it's Twitch.
Plug it away.
Join the sub crew.
I thought you would plug. I thought you'd plug it at the very beginning.
Rock me, it's Twitch TV. You knobbed up your plug.
That's all right. I wasn't meant to do it anyway.
All right. Longest podcast. This is the second longest Hexis podcast we've ever had. Last one that was this long was like the 3-hour, 45-minute one. Where at least on that one, like the last 50 minutes of that one, holy crap, it really dragged on. Where this is a much better, fluid discussion. Thank you everyone for watching. If you want to qualify for a 1 year of OS Buddy Pro, for those of you guys watching the video, all you got to do is leave a comment be a subscriber on YouTube. Leave a comment on the video with the hashtag Thank You Rock. That's all you gotta do. Have a happy Halloween. See you guys.
Bye everyone.
Bye.
Podcast over.